What's up, y'all? Technical difficulties. I'm sorry about that. Computer's acting real shitty today. So we'll figure that out a little bit later on. But again, I'm glad everybody's actually here with us. Thank you for being patient. We're going to actually get everything started. But first, I'm going to bring a band of misfits in, and we're going to get it going tonight. What's going on, everybody?
Greetings. Happy holidays.
All good.
Merry Christmas, y'all.
All good, man. I'm glad. We're gonna get this going, man, because like I said, I mean it's been far overdue. I know people have been waiting, and I'm so happy that they've been patient with us. But first, let me just go around and just make sure that everybody's cool. Lynch, how you doing, man?
Good. Just trying to get that last bit of shopping in.
Oh no!
What'd you get me?
Some RGB lights.
A shirt that says "Trying to LARP a street fight."
I think I need to make that as merch.
Yes.
Yo, definitely. Benny, how you doing today, bro?
Yeah, I am loving life. I'm on break, so I'm just drawing and catching up on reading and catching up on shows and spending time with family. I just had all the family over this weekend for like Christmas cookies and movies, so I'm in the holiday spirit. So
That's good. That's good. Butt naked assassin, aka Brendan, what you doing, bro? How you doing, man?
Man, I've been looking forward to this. I went to see the movie again this morning just for a little refresher. And I'm also in the process of mailing to Rob a Christmas present of a signed cast photo from Star Trek Discovery. So that'll be on the way.
Oh, I'll place it in a place of honor.
I know you will. Yeah, man, looking forward to tonight.
That show just is the gift that keeps on giving.
Hey, man.
I hear that. Matriarch, I'm so glad that we got you back. We haven't seen you in so long, man. I'm so glad you hit me up and was like, yo, this is a topic that you could not miss. So I'm glad to hear this. How you doing?
I just want to talk about Spider-Man. I'm so excited.
That's good. That's good. That's what you're here for. Robert Meyer Burnett, aka the smoothest guy on the planet. How you doing tonight, bro?
I'm doing well. You know, I'm doing. Things are good. Things are good. Having fun.
That's good.
I'm going to see The Matrix 11:30. I'm seeing Keola's new movie coming out Wednesday at 11:30 in IMAX, 11:30 a.m.
Word.
I'm very excited. I don't know why people aren't nearly as excited about the new Matrix movies.
There's almost no talk about it. It's bizarre.
Because they're talking about Spider-Man.
Spider-Man struck all the wind out of that.
Yeah. No one's going to go see it. I'm sure there's going to be like 2 people in the theater, and that'll be me and Elizabeth. And I'll be having a great time.
Yeah, it's gonna make $32 in the box office. It's gonna be nice.
No, it's you know what, it'll do what it does. I mean, I'm excited for it. I'm just as excited. It's been mixed reviews so far, but I'm still excited for it. I can't wait. And the man that loves to enable. How you doing, bro?
Dude, don't even. Like I'll be honest with you guys. My back's been bothering me, and I just need somebody to, like, you know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Well, we're going to get to
the vertebrae a little bit.
We're definitely going to get to that tonight.
Thanks for inviting me on the stream tonight, man. I appreciate that.
Well, definitely. When you was like, "Yo, what's up with the invite?" I was like, well, I can't not invite you, considering the simple fact that you wanted to be a part of it. So I was like, all right, cool, I invite you. Hell, I invite everybody. Hey, everybody, listen, everybody out in the chat, Latoya T will be on here tonight. I'm going to get her on. Trust me, she'll be back on. This has some technical difficulties. I don't know what it is, but we'll figure it out. I just rebooted the computer, so it should be up and running. So just bear with us just a little bit. But anyway, yeah, let me quickly address the chat, and then we're just going to jump in. We got Philip the Fool in the building. Thank you for coming through. We got Josh Baker, Tobar Lynch, of course. We got CJEFC for life. Okay. Josh Baker, SpongeBob SquareBalls is in the building. Tobar. We got Daryl
every time.
We got Tom Jr. Jackson in the building. Jane Angel. We got DK. We got my man Arlo is in the building. Thank you for coming through, bro. That's my best friend, Bob Dylan. We have the Ben Cave in the building. We got Jetta Patrol. We have Mike Fiala, Matt M. Philip. We got Trevor Weed is in the building. Tim Harvey. We got Luminar 843 in the building. Thank you for coming through. Malachi McBain, Bob Dylan, RMD Collective, Josh Baker. Let's see who else we got in here. Man, we got quite a few people in this thing. Beard Dad Life, or Blurred Dad Life is in the building. Let's see here. Renz Talentino. Let's see here. Who else we got? Man, quite a few. Collectible Chats is here. Tom J.R. Jackson. Ladies Man 0217. I hope this is the Lady Man's from the movie, because I love that. It's like one of my favorite movies.
That was good. That was a good movie.
Man, I love
Have you tried doing it in the butt?
Demonetized.
Demonetized. Genta is in the building. Thank you for that. Quite a few, man. Like, look, let's just dive in first, and we're gonna keep this one, short but sweet. This first topic, and this one is for those who have actually seen Hawkeye episode 5. Overall thoughts, really quick. Joe, what did you think about it, bro?
Dude, it just keeps getting better. Like,
yeah,
every episode, it just keeps hooking it up. And the only thing I will say is that I was disappointed on how easy Hawkeye put the smack down. I was like, they're not utilizing Echo's vibrations. Like, they're not depicting that in her fighting. I'm assuming that's going to come in the Echo series. But overall, finding out that Hawkeye indeed did kill her father, but was tipped off, seeing Kingpin, like, stoked. That episode was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, and that, the revelation was, I really didn't think Hawkeye did it, but since we found out that he did, it's like, okay, all right, now it's solidified. Vinny, what did you think of the overall episode, bro?
Yeah, I feel bad because it really got overshadowed by Spidey. But man, having the Kingpin reveal at the end was just amazing, because we're all wondering if they were going to just hold off the reveal till the Echo show, and they were like, nope, here you go. They have a lot to wrap up on this last episode, but episode 5 was great. I agree with Joe a bit on Echo could be, a little bit more lethal, but aside from that, they've made Hawkeye pretty damn lethal, so that's very cool. And I guess it's going to be one of those round robin things where it was just Hawkeye's turn to shine tonight. Obviously, Yelena having that now iconic, mac and cheese convo with Kate.
So good.
I mean, it's just, speaks a lot to how strong that character is. It was one of the few shining things of Black Widow for me. So it's really cool seeing her, in the mix. And I'm hype as can be for the finale on Wednesday. Good stuff.
Yeah. Definitely. Butt naked assassin, man, with the booty cheeks are freezing right now. What did you think of the overall episode, bro?
I'm nice and toasty, baby. I'm nice and toasty. Yeah, you and I, we've been talking about it since last Wednesday. So, my feelings are no secret to you. But yeah, I absolutely loved the episode. I had no hesitation going in saying that I believed we were going to see Kingpin. I 100% believed that we were going to, not just in this series, but I thought we were going to get him as like kind of the reveal at the end, and we did. We saw a picture of him instead of like seeing actually like, him on set, but that's, I'll still take it. I was right. I absolutely loved it. And it's funny, and there'll be a lot of memes and what there already have been from the whole mac and cheese conversation. Mm-hmm. But when you break down that whole scene, while I don't think it's necessarily on the same level, a lot of people were comparing it to a scene from my favorite all-time movie, Heat, with De Niro and Pacino, like, going back and forth. Now, these are not on the exact same level as those guys, but still, the whole talk about throughout this whole series, as much as we love Jeremy Renner and Hawkeye, and this is really expanding that for us, Haley Steinfeld has just been the standout, and everybody's been so mesmerized with how goddamn good she is in this role, how likable she is, how much you just want more of her on screen. And then Florence Pugh comes in,
Superstar.
and it's like, hold my beer. All right? Like, she was like, look, you're good, but you're not going to overshadow me. And they played so well off each other that it's like, I was hanging on every word that came out of Florence Pugh's mouth.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a testament, not just to the character, but how amazing as an actor she is, and how amazing Haley Steinfeld is, because she kind of took a back seat in that role, in that conversation, in that scene, and she was comfortable with it. She wasn't kind of fighting for attention in that scene as an actress.
She looked scared like she should have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She knew what she had to do in that scene, and she executed it to perfection. And that allowed us to be impressed with Florence Pugh and with the Yelena character even more than we already have been, so that the next episode is that much more powerful.
Yep.
So there was so much to appreciate for the way they executed that. And the director, the actors, I mean, everything was just absolutely fantastic. And yeah, it is kind of sad that it got a little bit overshadowed, a lot overshadowed by Spidey. But, the promos for this Wednesday look phenomenal.
Sick.
I also did notice in the promos for this finale that it did say season finale, even though in the past they had kind of said that this was like an event series, like it wasn't going to be going on. They did specifically say in these promos the season finale. So we'll see if that means there is a season 2. Maybe there's a season 2, but it's just Kate and Jeremy Renner's character moves on. I don't know, but it kind of has me hopeful, because I would love to see more of these characters.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm super excited. If there's going to be a season 2, I don't know. That's yet to be determined. Maybe they'll mention it in like a post credit at the end of this episode, so we'll see. Matriarch, what did you think about it? Actually, before you speak, real quick, we got a $7.99 super chat from Ashley Chase. Sorry, I'm way awesome to you all. I guess that's what she's saying. Okay. But thank you for being here. Definitely. Matriarch,
you had a super chat from Chess Verdon too.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning.
Probably did I? Chess Verdon with the $5 super chat. Awesome panel tonight. Looking forward to it. Thank you very much. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but we'll straighten that out. Matriarch, what did you think?
Oh man, this show is really just getting better and better. I didn't know what to expect going in. Not the biggest Hawkeye fan, but this show is really making me more invested in his character, and I love Vincent D'Onofrio. So seeing him again was just. He's one of the handful of perfect castings in Marvel. So I was really excited to see him again. I'm nervous for all the things they need to tie up. So I'm not sure if some stuff will get tied up in Echo or in other shows or in movies, but they have a lot to tie up. I'm thinking I think I saw that this episode is going to be almost an hour long.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll get through most of it. I also really liked seeing Yelena's blip experience.
That was
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah, that was really
so
interesting.
freaking.
Yeah, I really love that.
Definitely. Robert Meyer Burnett, coolest man in this channel. What's going on with you, bro? What did you think about the episode, man?
I really enjoyed it. Was there a vote for coolest man in the chat? Was there a vote for that?
Your time's coming.
He ran unopposed.
I don't want to know what name I got.
Yeah.
No, you know what I liked about this, once again, Marvel looks to a seminal comic run to inspire the show. I mean, obviously they went back to Matt Faction's Hawkeye run that everyone likes, and he's even a producer on the show. And I really have enjoyed seeing a smaller scale Marvel story. I mean, I've always talked about the fact that I wish I would go see a movie, the dinner party scene in Age of Ultron, where all the Avengers are at Avengers Tower. I'm like, I could have watched that for 2 hours. If that was an Avengers movie and you just saw the Avengers interacting with one another, different pairs of characters talking, getting a little bit more hammered, I'm like, I would be there for that.
It was like a murder mystery dinner.
Yeah, something
Somebody
like that.
Somebody got killed and they just stayed in there and solved it.
I would watch that, and I think I've really enjoyed the small scale nature of Clint Barton having to deal with the ramifications of the fact that he just became a stone cold vigilante killer during the blip. When he was Ronin, I mean, he was just murdering dudes straight up. You know, we heard in Endgame that he was killing. He's just been a swath through the underworld of what was left of Earth's population during the blip. I mean, he's done some bad things, even though they were done to bad people. I mean, he was a murderer.
He was the Punisher, basically.
He was basically the Punisher.
Yes.
And the fact that this is dealing with those ramifications, there are things in this episode. I love the relationship he has with his wife. That his wife knows they have no secrets from one another. She knows what's up. She knows all the, and there was the insinuation that she too might have been a SHIELD agent at some point,
right?
Or
Bobby
some
Morse.
kind of
Bobby Morse,
and yeah, and she left to you know, be a mom, which I liked. But I loved, obviously, I loved Yelena. She's great. It proves that they can make a Black Widow too with her as the lead, and it would totally work.
Now more than ever. After this show, people are sold on her.
Yeah, and that, you know, Kate Bishop, a character that was introduced in Young Avengers 1, could easily lead or carry or be the linchpin for a Young Avengers movie, which I think they're building. Obviously, they're building up to that. Right. And I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. And it's, how crazy is it? How crazy is it that we got the Kingpin and Daredevil in the same week?
It's,
you know, it's and they just in 1 week, all of the Sony Spider-Man movies, the Venom movies, and the Marvel Netflix shows all got backdoored into the MCU. You know, that's pretty astonishing to me. That now, and I think in addition to Hawkeye, I would not be surprised if they announce a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie where we meet Peter Parker or Pete Parker at 45 years of age. I would watch that movie. Like, where's Spider-Man at 45?
I don't think that's what's coming, though. I think
no, I don't think so either. But I mean, they could. Like, I think that they reestablished both of those characters.
They did,
and you could make viable Spider-Man films with either Andrew Garfield or Peter Parker.
Well, I do think there's a very strong chance that we get Amazing Spider-Man 3 with Andrew Garfield. People have actually been really clamoring for that.
Yeah, and I'm really curious which Spider-Man exists in, or does a Spider-Man, like in the, we saw Spider-Man Murderer in Venom, Let There Be Carnage, the posters on the wall. So, or no, in the Morbius trailer. So, what universe are they? Who is the Spider-Man in that universe?
Yeah.
Which one is it?
Given that it's Sony and not Marvel, who's on top of all the details and stuff, there he is. My guess is that they're going to screw that up, and it's going to be an Easter egg that never gets explained.
I don't know, man.
Because it's Sony, not Marvel, doing that movie.
But I still think that now it's all very, very intertwined.
Well, but it's very confusing, especially given, and we'll get to it at some point, the mid-credit scene, which was brilliant by Kevin Feige, by the way, absolutely brilliant in getting us a certain something and discarding a bunch of shit. So that was, I was so nervous what they were going to do bringing Venom in, and I was so happy the way they did it, because it was Kevin Feige being like, Tom Hardy, you're a good actor, but Venom movie, you fucking sucked.
But now we can get Venom with the actual Spider-Man logo, the white logo on the front.
And they can do an origin story and have Spider-Man with the black suit, all because of the way they brilliantly handled that mid-credit scene.
And Venom doesn't have to be a little bitch.
Really interesting. But Hawkeye, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes,
you know, I've really enjoyed the idea. All of Marvel Phase 4 has this idea of family. You know, what does family mean? And like Spider-Man No Way Home, Peter Parker, he has literally a family of Peter Parkers now that he didn't have before. Yeah. You know, in all of these shows, all the Phase 4, whether it's Eternals, whether it's Black Widow, whether it was Shang-Chi, it was all of it's been about family and familial connections, which I actually like. I think it's very intentional because they're leading up to whatever the Fantastic Four is going to wind up being.
Right.
Which is the first family of Marvel.
First family.
Can't wait.
So, it was good.
And, yeah. Mr. Ryan Jetta himself, what did you think about now? First of all, because like I said, I know you've watched it, but you haven't really been as vocal, have you? Because I haven't really seen you say too much about it.
About Hawkeye?
Yeah,
it's not my favorite Disney Plus series, but it's all right. I will say this last episode was all about Yelena. That was it. Like the rest of it, they could have just not had any of the other stuff, and I'd just follow Yelena around. She was quite fantastic. But it was the mac and cheese with the hot sauce. That was pretty good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I mean, just all about it. It was she stole the whole entire episode. Even the Kingpin thing at the end, I was like, okay, that's cool. And I kept thinking back, like Yelena, she just stole the freaking show. It was awesome.
She did. She did.
And I keep thinking in the back of my head, I know this ain't gonna happen, but just like the last episode at the end, I totally want to see a music video with Haley and Jeremy Renner doing some kind of because they're both pretty. I mean, Jeremy's a pretty good singer actually. And Haley is an extremely good singer, so it would be interesting to do that. But I think Haley's coming into her own as far as that character goes. I keep wondering how old Clint's gonna, bite the bullet. I'm wondering where he's gonna end up at the end of the series. So,
they're both going to go on the road together. They're going to join Rogers the Musical as their own characters, and they're going to go on Broadway.
Does he have like the script in his quiver or something? I don't know how that's going to work. But
he was there. He knows it.
Yeah, I don't know.
First thing he's going to do is shoot the guy playing Ant-Man because like you weren't.
My favorite part about the series, honestly, has been Hawkeye losing his hearing.
Yeah.
So part
Which
of
is
that,
comic book accurate too. So
it's just what it is it brings realism into. He's been in explosions in space and just doing all this other crazy crap. It's believable that somebody would have some hearing loss or have some maybe not even hearing loss, but have some physical effects from all that stuff.
Ryan, it's fitting to what you sent me earlier today about rewriting the script to Die Hard to Mr. No Shoes and Shooty Shooty Bang Bang.
Right.
Hawkeye is the John McClane of the MCU, right? When in the 80s and 90s, when you had Schwarzenegger and Stallone, you had all these larger-than-life action heroes who could, lift trucks and just kill 30 guys by themselves barehanded. And Bruce Willis comes in off Moonlighting, right? And he's the guy who, he's the everyman, the guy who bleeds and gets beat up, and he's running around barefoot and he's hurting and showing the pain. Hawkeye is that in comparison to Thor and Cap and Iron Man with the tech and stuff like that. He's the everyman that makes it more relatable, which is exactly why he's so good for a show like this.
And he had a huge loss. I mean, he's still mourning Natasha.
For sure.
And I will agree. I don't remember who said the blip thing, but the blip thing was awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was like, we haven't seen that in any context anywhere.
Right. We've seen it indirectly, but that was the first person look at what the blip was like, which just is.
We saw it in WandaVision, though.
We saw it kind of
Monica
Rambeau.
Right. But it wasn't quite as same in real time as it was for Yelena in that scene, which is just horrifying when you think about all the different things that you could be in the middle of and then just pop up. And I know one of the things that is kind of like not said but implied is that Hulk brought everybody back safely, but there's a million things you could have been doing, like driving or anything when you disappeared and came back, that would be just terrifying to be driving a truck and then wind up on the side of the road because you got brought back 5 years later. It's just insane when you think about all the different possibilities of what people might have been doing and where they came back at.
You imagine if somebody was like at the strip club?
Yeah, exactly. Like there's and of other things that this is a family show, so there's a lot of possibilities.
Real quick.
That's just me cover my own ass. Y'all say whatever. I'm trying not to.
Real quick, we got
about to be one fucked up family. Let me tell you that.
By Mr. Holbrook, Chance's Hot Toys gives us Toby, Andrew, and that new Spider-Man.
I think it's very
shown
likely
at the end of the movie. Very likely. I think it's more than likely to see it. Also, we got a super chat from Daryl Smith. He has fought the Mad Titan Ultron, but you can hear the fear in his voice about Kingpin. he doesn't just kill you; he kills your whole family.
Yeah.
This is that, and that's
100%.
That's the amazing part of it, is the simple fact that like there is fear for Kingpin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of fear for this dude. It's like I mean,
just like there is in the comics.
Just like it is in the comics. But
even Hawkeye's wife was like, "Oh yeah. Jesus!" When the big guy might get involved, and she was like,
especially Jesus. When we were just talking about how he's been just tearing through the underground for 5 years, and yet he wasn't able to touch Kingpin. So what does that tell you?
And you know, the thing is, Kingpin originally started in the comics as a Spidey villain. Okay,
debuted in Spider-Man.
It wasn't until Frank Miller in the 80s that he brought Kingpin in as a foe for Daredevil, and then that relationship really took off, and so he's more of a Daredevil villain now than Spidey. But the first like 20 years of his existence, he was a Spidey villain. And so to me, just to have Spidey and Daredevil in this movie together, knowing that we're getting these characters coming back, and hopefully maybe we get like a Spidey Daredevil team up with Kingpin as a villain, like down the road, that would be great. And Lael, definitely, yes, I think we'll get a hot toy of that suit at the end of the movie. But even if they announce that, that's going to be a couple years away. You know what is very close to that suit that is available right now, and I have a feeling is going to start getting pretty hot, is this guy. All right, the Spider Armor Mark IV, minus like the glowing part right there. If you look at the suit at the end of the movie, it is that kind of
metallic,
like bright metallic, like shiny blue right there, right? This figure is very close, minus the emblem, to what we saw at the end of that movie. And you can get this right now. So I have a feeling this is going to go on a run. People are going to start picking this one up that they were sleeping on before.
I believe it. We got a $4.99 super chat. I hope they do Venom in Secret Wars, but before Spidey gets his black suit, I hope he latches to Deadpool first for Venom's can lose his mind. Well, we'll see.
Anything's possible.
So, and Dag, we got another super chat by Ashley Chase. What do you guys think about 85 battle damage? We'll get to that a little bit later. We'll definitely get to that a little bit later. And then another super chat. Spidey shut down Kingpin in back to back.
Down.
Amazing when he beat that. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Slapping in front of the whole prison. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was butt naked Parker.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, Back in Black storyline.
Yeah, the Back in Black storyline was incredible. So I'm just gonna jump into it, and I don't care who's ever watching. You've been warned. These two.
I haven't seen the movie yet.
Dang. These three. Yeah. Right off the back. These three. I mean,
okay.
What can we say? Like what is it? What more do we need to basically say, other than like, yo? I mean,
they crushed it.
They
crushed it.
Come on, man. Like what? Come on, man. Like, listen, and let me just go first, and I'm just going to say all around when it comes to the film, and my thoughts on the actual film. I mean, to me, in my opinion, it is the best Spider-Man film I've ever seen. Like literally. And I'm just saying, for me, it is the best Spider-Man film that I've ever seen. I love Spider-Man 2. Some people might disagree. I love Raimi's Spider-Man 2 for so many different reasons. But this trumps it all. Just, beat by beat, what they were able to pull off with this film. We knew this wasn't a secret. So we knew that we were going to see these three characters together. We knew we were going to see all three of them together. But it was just the level of how it actually was orchestrated and how good it was and how they put it together. It was just phenomenal. And if Justin was here, if he was here, I would say I was right about something, but we'll get to that a little bit later.
Oh, yes, we will.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. Lynch,
That was the
overall
first
thoughts about
text that Lael sent me, by the way, after this was,
Exactly.
I love being right. That's what his text sent to me. I love being right.
I love being right. I do.
And
I love
it
being
is too
right.
bad Justin's not here for that tonight, but we'll get him later.
I know.
I'm in the
Exactly. I
dark on
love
that
being
one.
right.
I'll catch up.
Would you say you're in the dark on that one?
I have no idea what you're talking
It
about.
will be illuminated as we go.
All right.
Yeah. But so Lynch, you went to see it. You enjoyed it. Your thoughts on
I
the
saw
film?
it twice. I saw it once more today at 1. I love this movie, and I love Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. I thought Alfred Molina was amazing in that, the humanity and everything. And then Into the Spider-Verse was my favorite Spider-Man film up until I saw this. And I was just blown away. I couldn't believe it. Seeing these three on screen together and then jumping off the scaffolding together and flying and landing in their poses, I was speechless. Yeah, this was sick. This is my favorite Spider-Man film of all time.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. And me and Vinny were actually in the theater at the same time when we saw it. He was sitting behind me, and mind you, can I say that like literally the experience of being in a theater again and seeing how packed. I mean, like there were lines. You would have thought this was pre-pandemic, like literally, like before. It was like lines everywhere. Getting in the theater, like people were like, "Yo, you're sitting in my seat," stuff like that you don't normally hear. It's like it was back to normal, and it was so packed. In the
I probably
theater.
got COVID.
What'd you say?
I probably got COVID.
You don't want.
That's how many people were there.
Wow.
I mean,
I
I made out with a couple other Spidey fans, but I don't think that had anything to do with it. But yeah, I probably got COVID.
Packed.
Yeah, bro, it was so packed in there, but it was just phenomenal. The atmosphere was energetic.
Audience reaction to everything, the pops that they all got from the beats of the story, everything.
It was like
amazing. Exactly.
Yeah. I'm looking back at Vinny. He shared it. We shared a couple of Native American tears together. So Vinny, you know, because you're the person who basically like avoided any and all trailers when it came to this film.
Right.
Amazing.
As you know, I avoid trailers if there's anything I'm gonna see. So I watched the trailer after seeing this, and as if it wasn't already cemented. I'm so glad I did, because there was only like 100 different moments that I geeked out during the film that was in the trailer, and I got to have that moment in the moment. But yeah, this was not a movie. This was an event. This was an experience. It was so great. I really, for a while there, was nervous about us ever having an experience like this again with the pandemic, because even as people were starting to go back to the movies, we've been to a few this year, and it was nothing like this. I mean, it was sparse, and it was like a lot of people were hesitant to go, and I'll just see it later. So many films are on, the wait for streaming now, and it's almost like even before the pandemic, this would have been a huge big deal. We seen it twice at two different theaters. In both theaters, it was pandemonium. It was completely asshole to elbow, people everywhere, and absolutely just stoked, clapping over everything. It was like when Star Wars first came back, where people were just so out of their mind excited for a big blockbuster film again with their favorite characters. And these aren't just films that were 10 years in the making, like Iron Man to Infinity War or Endgame. This was since 2000. I mean, this is 20 years of half our lives and most of the lives of the kids that were there in the theater. And there's different generations. I mean, there's people there who grew up with Andrew's Spider-Man. There's people who grew up with Toby's, and there's people who are like kids who are growing up with Tom's Spidey. So it was phenomenal to see families of all different ranges clapping and high-fiving, going apeshit over Daredevil, over Andrew, over Toby, and over Alfred. Like, Dr. Octopus got a damn near standing ovation. It was an event. It was so great. I need to see it like a fourth or fifth time, and after everything dies down, because there's entire lines of this movie I didn't hear. Like, I still don't know what the hell Daredevil said when he sat down, because everyone was cheering, and it was amazing. I was absolutely blown away. I think Spider-Man 2.1 has been my hill I've died on, even when Spider-Verse came out. Like, that director's cut of that film with him sitting on a bed listening to the police scanner, like, they even threw a nod to that with him having a phone app. Everything in this film was just like tight. So like, it was, I can imagine a bulletin board on a wall for notes to make sure that everything in this film was cohesive and tied together.
This is what happens when Feige's involved.
Exactly. It's the first thing I said when we walked out was like, did the writers of the other Sony movies, are they tied up in the closet? Because this was a different film, so much tighter, so much better. And there's a million other different things to talk about, but my initial reaction was, this was something truly special, and definitely, like, I have to see it again at home. But as it stands now, it'd be hard to believe that this won't wind up being my favorite Spidey film. I was, man, it was perfection.
It was blown away. It was just a level of perfection that I didn't think they can reach, but they did it. Before I move on to you, Rob, real quick, let me just kind of address these super chats. We have Dylan Longham in the building. He said, how nice was it to see Charlie Cox Daredevil again? It was really nice. We are going to get to that. We have, what's this? Oracle of Doom 222 said, hands down the best Spider-Man movie I've ever.
Oh no!
Oh,
that he's ever seen.
That he's ever seen.
Yeah, you can definitely finish up that sentence.
We agree, and Lael is on his way back. Lewis Libbets came in with $4.99 super chat.
Yep.
What's up, crew? Just got back from the third viewing, just movie magic, and hope everyone has an amazing holiday Christmas weekend. Much love all. Yes, same.
You too,
right
Lewis.
back at you, Lewis. And yeah, I mean, how many times? So I've seen it twice. There will be more
I
viewings.
saw it twice.
Everybody else?
I've only seen it once.
Yep.
Oh, we got an echo for Lael.
Is that me?
Yeah, you got an echo, bro.
Believe so.
Okay. Wait.
Kind of sounds cool though.
No, we're still hearing an echo.
Yeah.
You guys say Sunday.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Monster truck rally.
Yeah.
I'm just having.
Shirley Cha-Cha Muldowney. That
Big
just
foot.
old man.
Everybody send in your super chats
Hold
right
on.
now.
What is going on?
There we
with
go.
this
No, you got rid of it. You got rid of it.
No, you're
You're
good.
good. You're
We're
good.
good.
No more echo.
What the fuck is going on? Like,
They'll keep
Can you
Spoiler
not hear us
alert.
again?
It's 5 years later.
Wow.
6CL reviews was right. They'll keep getting blipped.
I can't.
Okay. Well,
You want to just move on to Robert?
Lael, can you hear us?
Lael, can you hear us? That's a little,
I can't.
I don't think he
gentle
can hear
for
us.
you.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, there you go.
While he's figuring it out, Rob, why don't you just?
Yeah.
Oh, now we're hearing an echo again. Lael, can you hear us?
Cha-cha, Muldowney.
Well, Friday the 13th. That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, yes, I could
Everybody's-
wax rhapsodic about. I mean,
go ahead,
look,
Rob.
what I thought was great about this film was it was pure escapist entertainment. It's exactly why we go to the films. It shows. I mean, first of all, as my friend Cliff Stevenson put it best, he's like, I can't even believe this movie exists. The idea of getting all those actors to come back, dealing with their agents, their lawyers, their people, to try and negotiate this and to make it all happen logistically and
do it well. Like
and
that's
do
the
it
thing.
well.
Like that's the other part of the equation. Not just getting it done, but getting it done and not sucking.
No,
And
it was
it's crazy.
quite extraordinary. And although I will say this, as much as I enjoyed the film, and I really love the way they left it at the end, where Spider-Man, it's almost as if his entire time in the MCU up to this point has been his origin story.
Yeah.
And now,
that's what I was gonna
all
get
of
to,
the things that it was all stripped away, and he now has to grow up. We're now seeing, Peter Parker beginning
On his
college
own.
and living on his own, and he's truly an orphan in this world.
Yep.
He was able to have these mentors, but now they're gone, and he truly has to. I can't wait to see what they do next, because I think the MVP in this movie was in fact Tom Holland, because he was the center, he was the heart of all of this craziness that was going on, and without that, and his acting, like when he lost Aunt May, and even at the end, his acting and the depth of his character was extraordinary. And you know, I don't usually get I got choked up when Captain America had Mjolnir in Endgame, and there have been moments. I love Tom Holland when he's blipped. And he's you know, I don't feel good,
with
Mr.
Tony
Stark.
on Titan. Yeah,
I was like, wow, that and I got choked up twice in this movie because of Tom Holland's performance, and then also seeing all the Spider-Men together. I mean, it's exactly why we go to movies like this, and it's been so long. I mean, the one thing that the MCU has consistently done is delivered this kind of entertainment, and while it's been up and down, the movies are at least good to great. Like, I know there's people that don't like Captain Marvel. I liked Captain Marvel, you know, as a science fiction film. I really enjoyed it. I don't, you know, I wouldn't compare it. Like, I don't compare Infinity War and Endgame to the rest of the MCU, because those are outliers. Those are amazing films in their own right. But I'm much more like, I love the first Ant-Man. I was surprised at how much I found that just a really enjoyable, fun movie. And the quality of the MCU, this is the 27th movie in the MCU, 27. It's the most successful film series in all of cinema history. And the level of quality has been extraordinary. And this is an example of that. And I will say this, though. I'm really looking forward to seeing a movie that isn't about anything other than Peter Parker and Spider-Man. No more mentors. I want to see a film where only he can't call the Avengers because he doesn't know. I mean, they might help him if he says, "Hey, I'm Spider-Man," but one thing I really want to know,
starting from zero.
It's really close to what we got with this one. It was great.
Yeah, but what I would ask all of you is this question: is there an Avengers team anymore?
I mean, not really. I mean, that's why it was pretty believable that no one would be there to help.
Yeah, there's nobody there to help. There's nobody around. I mean, where are the Avengers? I don't think they really exist as a team.
I don't think they do either. I think they will. Another team will come together out of necessity. I think Falcon, like Cap, Sam Wilson will pull a team together at some point.
We're going to get a whole new Avengers for sure.
Yeah, because we're also going to get the young Avengers too, and you can't have the young Avengers if you don't have the old Avengers.
I want the super old Avengers. I want the geriatric
Avengers.
We've got Lale back. I think there's, you know, I think Doctor Strange's spell, as far as forgetting Peter, had to do with Earth. I don't know that Thor or Captain Marvel is affected by that. We'll see.
I don't know. I think it'd be all of reality.
Possibly. Yeah.
I don't know. I think he said in the world, so I don't know how specific.
There is a plot hole
because they've forgot about Peter Parker, but they know who Spider-Man is.
Yeah.
Right.
They just forgot that Peter was Spider-Man. They didn't forget about Spider-Man.
Yeah, they know who Spider-Man is, but they just
nobody knows who Peter Parker
is. But
is.
it's like no one knows who Peter Parker is.
They forgot that Peter Parker existed.
Yeah,
I don't think Thor ever knew who Peter Parker was.
No, you're right. Some of the Avengers didn't. It was you know, Iron Man. I don't even think Cap ever, like, some of them would know what he looks like from that last battle because he was unmasked. And he was at the funeral, so maybe they kind of, you know, had some hors d'oeuvres and shared names and, you know, and stuff at the end of Endgame. I don't know.
So,
I'm pretty sure the symbiote knows.
Yes. But so that is one of the plot holes, and there are a bunch in this movie, which is a testament to how good the movie is, that there are some glaring plot holes.
Well, are they plot holes or just unexplained elements?
Yeah.
Well,
it's like music, man. It's just
there are some, like we were talking about before we went live, for example, with Electro, with Jamie Foxx, where the spell was supposed to be bringing in people to their universe who knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. But Electro in Amazing Spider-Man 2 never learned Peter's secret identity. Mm-hmm. Because even when he, you know, toward the end when he was there with Andrew Garfield, and he was saying, I kind of thought you would be black under that mask. He had never seen Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker. He never knew who he was.
Yeah.
So by that logic, by that setup, he shouldn't have been one of the people brought into that universe because he didn't know the secret identity. So there are some, plot holes that you see in that. Like, for example, how did Doc Ock know that that Spider-Man was the one who killed Norman Osborn? Because even the only person who knew was Harry when he knew how his dad died. The rest of the world didn't know that Norman Osborn was the Green Goblin. So there are little there are plot holes in there, but to me it was kind of like
movie ever.
To me it was kind of like the whole Doctor Strange was really willy-nilly at the beginning of this movie. Because he just starts doing the spell right away, and then when Peter's like, "Hey, let's not do MJ," and he should have been like, "Okay, let me stop. Who do you want to remember you? Okay, now let's do this," and that would have avoided all of these problems.
As would wishing everyone forgot who Mysterio was instead.
Yeah, that would have saved a lot of time.
Yeah, so there were a lot of easy fixes at the very beginning.
But we wouldn't have got the movie, so I'm glad he didn't think of it.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. There are plot holes that we're willing to accept.
Here's the thing, and I want to get the matriarch's opinion on it as well, real quick. But the thing is, in doing that, you're straying away from the whole idea of One More Day, which they were trying to lean heavily on.
Right.
Yes.
And One More Day was something that was really, really important to the narrative, as the director actually said. Even the writer said. They wanted to do something totally different, but One More Day was something that they wanted to stick towards. So if they would have did something with Mysterio, it would have kind of but see, the thing is, they don't want to do what's easy. They want to do what's complicated because it helps the narrative.
Yeah.
So that's most definitely where I think.
But also, if Mysterio's dead, maybe he couldn't have been a part of that spell. You'd have to have been alive. Could have been in the proximity of Doctor Strange, because that. Your mind, your essence was probably part of that spell, which is why it had to have Peter Parker. Like, if Peter Parker wasn't there, I don't think Strange could have cast that spell.
True. Matriarch, real quick, and then we're going to go to the Master Enabler, if he hasn't already spoken while I was having these technical difficulties. What did you think of the overall? I mean, because I know you were eager. You were like, yo, I want in. And it's like, when you want in, I'm like, okay, because she's never really vocal like that. But so what did you think?
I mean, I'm still kind of wrestling with whether it's my favorite, because I hold Into the Spider-Verse just on like a really high pedestal. But it was definitely an experience. It was not, oh man, like I was so scared after Venom 2. I was like, please, Sony, God, just
me too.
Sony,
you
motherfuckers.
You
bring me in. You keep bringing me back. You know what I mean? But I guess Disney having their hand in it helped out a lot. But this movie was exceptional. Like, even my husband was like gasping and he's just not like into this stuff like I am. But it was wow. I think I cried maybe 5 times in a Spider-Man movie, which is like unheard of, because it's like the MCU Spider-Man tends to gauge like more like happy-go-lucky, kind of young and impressionable kid. So
yeah,
I think it was just extremely well balanced. I think John Watts did a amazing. Is he the writer too?
No.
He directed.
Just a director.
Okay. Well, whoever wrote it, amazing. I'm stoked for Fantastic Four now. It was so good, and even the plot holes, which there are many, because once you get into time travel and fucking all that stuff, it's going to be plot holes. But I just right now, I guess I need more time to I've only seen it once, but I guess I need more time to think about it, because right now I just do not care, because that movie was just like fire. It was so good, and seeing them together, seeing all 3 Spider-Men together was just like, oh man, like just get me right in the feels. It was amazing. Like, that movie made me so happy, and I was so impressed. that I really just like. I could not have asked for a better movie. It was so well balanced, as very similarly to how Endgame had to balance just like literally like 10 years, 12 years worth of fucking movies and experiences. It was on that level. I was extremely impressed with that movie.
Definitely. Real quick, we have Blurred Dad Life in here. Wong is Sorcerer Supreme now. What will be the implications of that in the multiverse of madness?
He's gonna die. Wong.
You think so?
Yes.
Well,
100%.
that's an easy way for it to go back to Strange.
As soon as they said that Wong's the Sorcerer Supreme, I'm like, oh, he's gonna die. He's dying.
I hope not.
I hope not, but I don't know.
What'd you say?
What?
You said
no, I said Brandon made a good point. It would be a segue into like putting the focus back on Strange, and we all know that.
Lael, she said Brendan made a good point.
Don't relish.
It's like it's got this when she's
Strange.
When she speaks, it just has this like lyrical quality to it.
So what were your overalls?
Oh this is my favorite Spider-Man. My favorite. Look at this.
Oh, we're about to get to that soon because someone made a special appearance in this film. We're gonna get to that in a minute. Go ahead.
Spider-Man. Now, precursor. I am not like the comic book geek. Okay. The most comics growing up was, from my brothers and my male cousins who would, leave a comic book here or there, and I would pick it up and read it and things. So most of this is a recent thing, maybe the past 10 years or so. But and following the movies and things like that, like this was my favorite Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
like it was awesome. Just the nod to mental health when we talk about Green Goblin and how he smashed the mask. Right, taking that mask off and showing both sides of him, right? That maybe a nod to being bipolar, things like that. Even
Go ahead.
Peter Parker, him being so young now, and like kind of them showing like his independence. Like even though he's so young, it was a nod to his intelligence when he's strange, right? Math over sorcery. And even like towards the end, him, sewing up the classic suits and knowing who he is and having to just kind of navigate life like on his own now. There's just so many different points. I'm sure that, the questions are going to come up and we can kind of go into greater detail. But overall, it's a 15. Like this movie was excellent. Excellent. I'm really into, like character development. And just like the growth of characters and just people in general. So this is awesome.
Definitely.
She's right, dude. This was the I think the biggest character development that we've gotten in the MCU to date, because this was essentially Peter graduating from the MCU. Because remember, like we on Comic Book Talk, like in previous streams, we've been talking about like in Homecoming and in Homecoming, he was very much reliant on Tony Stark, and he even has that line in there. He's like, "I'm nothing without the suit," and Tony's trying to tell him, if you need the suit, then you were nothing before. Like that's not going to make the difference. Then we've got we got Far From Home, where he's now trying to cope with the loss of Tony, right? This movie is the first Tom Holland Spider-Man movie we've gotten where it was not reliant on anything else in the MCU. Yes, you had Doctor Strange coming in and stuff, but his journey was his own, and it wasn't predicated on what happened with Tony Stark or with the Avengers or anything. It was his own story, and he goes from being that kid who has the Stark tech at the beginning, all right, and then at the end, he's just Spider-Man. He made his own suit. He has no Stark tech. He has no. It's now, I'm ready. I've gone through the trials and tribulations. I am ready to be the Spider-Man that I was meant to be, and I don't need Tony Stark, and I don't need a tech suit to be that Spider-Man. That was the journey from. This was the quintessential Peter Parker story, because this was the quintessential Peter Parker story because, and they actually, if you notice, I'm sure, like Lael, Vinny, you guys probably noticed, this is the first film that we've gotten of Spider-Man where they got the quote correct about great power, great responsibility.
We've been waiting for it. It was
The
kind of
way-
like Avengers Assemble, where you had to wait for it.
Yep, the way
Yep.
May said it is the way it actually appeared first in the comics. It wasn't until later when they were going back and doing like retcons and stuff where Ben said it kind of, this was, it was the way it was actually sent. And the whole point of this too, when she's saying like, no, you didn't make a mistake, this was right, even though she's dying, right? It was with great, the great power and great responsibility. And part of that responsibility is great sacrifice.
Right.
And that's what Peter had to go through to realize that, like, yeah, if he had just pushed the button on the box, like, right at the beginning, May would still be alive and stuff. But, like, part of his journey is that you have to take on that responsibility, but that means that you're going to have to make sacrifices. Right. And that's part of Peter's journey. And that was something that he hadn't actually had to contend with. So this is the quintessential Peter Parker story for anybody who's ever read the comic books. And they absolutely crushed it. This was the definitive filmic Spider-Man story, in my opinion.
So, real quick, we're going to answer Ashley's question. How much do you charge for Spidey's pictures? Considering the simple fact that you made a special appearance in it, and you did quite well. You were just as menacing as you have been in Stellini's version.
I got my hair back though.
Yeah,
and I got a much better beard. I gotta be honest with you, I look way better off the big screen.
But yeah, what did you feel about it, bro?
Dude, I'm on the fence with Spider-Verse and this one as far as best Spider-Man movie. I don't want to like the initial hype of this one, the adrenaline to go. Yeah, so I don't know. I gotta wait on that one.
Same.
What I did feel is that there was a lot more emotional moments in this film.
Yeah.
Dude, when Aunt May bit the dust, that was rough, man.
Yeah,
that was rough, and I was like, damn, that sucks. Because my cousin Vinny and all, that was, but it was interesting because like they killed Uncle Ben like 25 times. I never felt a damn thing for him. But Aunt May was like, that was rough. But yeah, I enjoyed every bit of it. I think Tom Holland just absolutely freaking nailed it.
Yeah.
If he doesn't win some freaking award for that, that's crazy. As far as the villains go, I mean, the entrance of Doc Ock was pretty cool. I enjoyed that. Goblin kind of blowing some crap up. That was cool. I think Willem Dafoe definitely did.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
His performance.
That hallway scene? Jeez.
Dude, in that, so I think that was great. Story arc wise, Tom or Peter coming into his own toward the end. I enjoyed that a good bit, and he was ready. He's been through all this stuff. Hell, he's fought freaking. He's in space, man. Like what Nick Fury says. He's like, "Bitch, please, you've been this."
Yeah.
And the other Spider-Men felt a little intimidated by that.
Yeah, they were like, "What
in space?"
I want to fight aliens.
I want to fight an alien.
Yeah. But there was definitely some highlights. The highlights when the three Peters came. That's a different show. Never mind.
Oh my god!
When they were talking about the web shooters, dude.
So funny.
That was great.
I could have watched them just shoot the shit for another half hour.
Dude, yeah.
Yep.
And when they recreated the pointing meme,
in
the lab, was which Peter? Peter Parker. Wait, we're all Peter Parker. Like that.
By the way, they were in the lab. No one else was thinking for them. They were thinking.
It was great. The whole dynamic between Toby and Andrew was 10 out of 10. It was
amazing,
fantastic. The fight scenes when they're going in, they were working together when they finally figured out they got to work together. It was just phenomenal. I thought the third act wrapped up a little quick for me, like the fight scenes with the villains. I thought it went a little quick. I wish I would have liked to seen some more, some
Yeah.
more action there. I feel like I was like, cool, we're in the third act, let's roll. And then
I agree.
they solved all the problems like way too fast for me.
Well, I think it would have been helpful to me anyway. I felt that Lizard and Sandman were not necessary. They were just kind of in there to be additional villains for them to battle. I would have preferred if it was just maybe keep Doc Ock as bad or I don't know, but even if you make him kind of reformed and stuff, I just felt like, I mean, there was no real purpose, there was no real hook that made you give a shit about Lizard or Sandman.
Yeah, really.
Like there was no real character interaction with them. They could have just been like, get rid of those guys and maybe somehow bring in one of Tom Holland's villains. Either Mysterio was still alive or bring in Vulture somehow or just something like that. But I just felt like Lizard
it made sense on a threat level because 3 Spider-Men should have been able to take out at least 3 villains. So they felt like they had to pile up a little bit.
But that moment when Andrew when Andrew saved MJ, that was
awesome. Most powerful moment in it for me.
Because he finally did it. He had that completion in his heart.
It was his redemption.
He saved her. He couldn't save his Gwen, but he saved her.
Yeah,
that was great.
For Tom Holland's Peter Parker.
Yeah, he saved.
You're right.
He saved Peter from going through that loss.
Exactly.
After he had already just lost May, and that was his.
Did anybody think like from the beginning of? I think maybe it's just me because I watched too many damn movies, but from like the first 10 minutes when they did the whole forget spell, I knew it. I already knew the ending. Already knew it.
Yeah, I knew he wasn't gonna.
He was gonna walk away, and he was gonna let them not be harmed.
Which makes sense. I love that.
First 10 minutes, you knew what was going to happen.
If you read the comics, then we also kind of knew going in that was likely going to be how this was going to end anyway. Where Strange was going to make everybody forget because it's happened in the comics, not just for him. It happened for Daredevil. It's happened for multiple characters. So it was most of us knew that was going to happen going in. But if you didn't have the backstory, you kind of got that red herring at the beginning of the movie. Yeah,
it was a giveaway for sure.
Rob,
it was way too easy to see.
But you know what? I have to say that when Vinny, you were talking about how, or no, I think Brendan, it was you, how, Tom Holland he's in this movie, like he's set apart from all the help and the support from, Stark Industries and the technology and thing. I think that's like a technical aspect of his separating himself, right? And distinguishing himself and standing on his own. There's also a personal component as well, in that he had to be vulnerable enough to listen to the other Peter Parkers. You know what I mean? And understand what they have been through, to understand that, they know that what's most personal is most universal. Like they
helped him go on a personal journey in a way that Tony Stark couldn't, because these guys were Spider-Man. These guys were living through the exact things
they were living that
he was struggling with.
Spider-Man every day, fighting the everyday common crime life. Like only they could understand that.
What's an Avenger?
Ability.
What's an Avenger?
Rob, because we talked about this on Midnight Metal the other night, of how he, Pete's journey, Spider-Man's journey throughout, and we talked about basically how with the other 2 films, like this was pretty much like the crescendo of how he needed to kind of like, I think it was like him finding himself or finding himself through mistakes, through the mistakes that he basically made, even though he's, the other Spider-Man had actually had their own personal journey without, they dealt with more sacrifice from the very beginning. Pete literally hadn't dealt with much of a sacrifice other than the simple fact that, Uncle Ben, okay, yes, there was a loss there, but he had so much more to gain because he relied on everything else. He had, Tony Stark to come in and mentor him, at that standpoint. He had, he had the entire Avengers squad in the end. You know what I mean?
Well, and he lost 5 years of his life.
Yeah.
He was blipped. So he had things that were happening to him, but he had yet to feel like he was fine just being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, helping out whoever needed help. And then he gets tapped by Tony Stark, who basically used him
Yeah.
as a secret weapon in Germany against the rogue team when they had split up. So in a way, Tony Stark was exploiting Peter Parker and using him for his own ends, which, I understand why he did it, but it's not necessarily something. It was not certainly altruistic on Tony Stark's part. Like, oh, I'm going to show you the ropes. He's like, no, I need you to. You're going to be my secret weapon that I'm going to deploy you when people who don't know you're there are going to least expect it.
He was his Robin,
and I like Batman. I like the confidence of it because, like, when he tried to stop that robbery on the freighter, and Iron Man showed up and yelled at him, it's like, what was I supposed to do? Let all those people die? Whereas in this film, Strange is trying to, lambast him too, and he's like, no, I was doing what I thought was right. And I feel like this film, he finally had the confidence to make those decisions, right or wrong. If you're a superhero, you're gonna have to live with those decisions. You can't second guess yourself, otherwise people are gonna die.
Right.
Yeah, and
by the way, they totally screwed up. They totally misdirected us with the trailers on purpose too. 100%. The way they cut it, the way they made Doctor Strange appear, in that he appeared seemed very weird and out of character.
We're gonna get to that.
They did it on purpose.
We're gonna get to that in a minute. Rob, would you want to finish? What were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say that Spider-Man never actually had anything tragic happen to him at all. And he was, in a way, he's leading this exciting life. I mean, of course, Mysterio fighting villains and things like that, but in losing his aunt, I mean, that was more crushing than anything that had happened to him. And you can see the rage. I mean, he's right on the verge. In a way, it's like Star Wars. He was about to go to the dark side, and he would have killed Green Goblin. And if he'd done that, he would have become like presumably Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man had become, even though we don't know exactly what his Spider-Man had become. We only knew that something bad. I think it was Toby that stopped him. I don't remember who stopped him.
And
Toby stopped him. But
and it was, he didn't even shake his head. He just looked at him because that's all.
Yeah, I mean, was a great moment.
He's like, I've been stabbed before.
And we got to see him snap. I mean, he'd snapped. He was in the midst of a murderous rage, and rightfully so. He was going to take revenge on his aunt. And we'd never seen anything like that. And Tom Holland played it beautifully. He really brought the rage, man, and you felt it. You felt it. And I think that's why, look, I'm sure this movie has a 4-hour cut that they had so much that they had shot, and we would all watch it. Of all the Marvel movies, I would love to. I mean, I hope that there's an extended version of this almost, because I would watch another half an hour of just the Spider-Man hanging out, and all of that. I think there was probably a lot more to this movie because there was so much stuff in it. But yeah, I found that all very satisfying, and it was great because it added. There was an emotional level. I mean, obviously, Infinity War and Endgame, the stakes were so high, literally the end of the universe. But this had real personal stakes, and I thought Tom Holland was really the MVP in the movie. He really did such a great job.
And the thing is, he showed what was the transition to maturity was the biggest thing that I saw in him. Him again. John Watts did such a brilliant job at demonstrating Peter's intelligence and the simple fact that he's coming into his own. He realizes that, wait a minute, I've been, it's all, we always say this, Matriarch Benny, we've been talking about this for years, punches and powers. But it's one of the things where he's now dealing with the simple fact that he has a level of intelligence that he never really tapped into. And the first taste of it was against Strange. Him figuring it out was like, wait a minute. I'm smarter than this, I'm smarter than, and I can figure this out this way. So it was such a brilliant job. The whole, the science lab scene with all of them there, when they basically they all took a piece of what they thought, they could contribute to, solving, this event and what they can do to kind of eliminate the threat. In the conversations, the funniest was the conversation between Ned and Toby. That had me dying, like his facial expressions, all that. And you know what? And the thing is, people don't really talk about Ned's character. I forget the actor's name, but
Jacob Batalon.
He did such an amazing job throughout this entire film at not just being like Peter's friend, but also basically showing the weight of being a friend, discovering something that it's been like a family heritage or whatever, saying things that you know, but at the same time, looking at your best friend and like, yo, he's going through so much. I need to help him as much as I can. I'm always going to basically be here for him. It's like Ned doesn't get enough praise that he needs as his best friend. And the simple fact that both of them, both Ned and Zendaya's character, MJ, both stuck by him through thick and thin, like through everything, regardless, even their way of even saying, look, we'll give up college and just don't care just to make sure that we still have that unity. It was such a good job. The film was amazing seeing that dynamic play out the way it did. Real quick though, Matt Murdock.
Hell yeah.
I need to see it for a third time because when he came on screen, I like the first few seconds you couldn't hear what he said because everybody was cheering.
No, Benny, we went to see it again Saturday night.
We can't hear that either.
We still couldn't hear it
because everybody was there when we came in. We couldn't hear nothing. As soon as we saw the cane, everybody was like, yes, yes. And then the conversation started, and then we couldn't hear anything else. Like, that was it. The only thing we heard was, you're going to need a good lawyer.
Yeah, and then everything. But that first few seconds, I was still like, I need captions because he's
right.
He pretty much just said, you know, all the he got all the lawsuits off Peter taken care of.
Yeah.
And told Happy Happy was going to need a lawyer.
I love that it was early and they got it out of the way, so we weren't sitting there, you know, is he
Right.
gonna be in or what? I love that it was just like, here you go, here's this
Matter of fact.
Yeah, there you go.
Trying to start off with a banger.
Yeah.
They gave us a little something and then they just moved on. And the catch with the brick.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
How did you do that? I'm a
really good lawyer.
That's so good. So good.
I mean, how about when he catches
by the way,
the brick?
somebody in the one of the
was great.
Facebook groups put in there like their ratings of the film. It was like a
8.3.
You know, something like that, whatever it is. It's a really good thread.
That's very specific. It's granular.
If you guys are in the Jealous Death Star group, it's very entertaining. But anyways, I essentially they were asking what you rated it. I said it had Zendaya, so it's a 10 out of 10 for me. So, she's a winner in my book. She I think she did a fantastic job.
Yeah. Everyone acted their asses off in this movie.
Yeah.
The one thing I just dislike about the Tom Holland Spider-Verse is the casting for Flash. Can't stand it.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
He better not get the symbiote. That's all I got to say.
That's what I'm saying. I can't.
I agree with that, especially given what happens to him as the comics progress.
Can you imagine
it's like, no, that's just bad casting.
Agent Venom. Can you imagine Flash as Agent Venom?
No.
Oh god.
That's
Also, what's with the blonde hair?
I can't imagine it.
What was with the blonde hair in this movie?
I don't get you're supposed to hate him, but damn, I hate him.
You know what?
I just don't. I'm the character. I don't like the casting. Like, I just don't.
Yeah. No, but that's what I mean. Yeah, he's the wrong guy for it.
You know what it felt like? If you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, what he's going through right now, that's what it felt like.
Exactly.
Like,
I thought I was getting like the Wish version.
Like he did
the
a
Wish version of Flash. It was terrible.
They did somebody a favor to bring that cat in. Like they brought like somebody. It was
somebody drowned in the pool. Somebody drowned in the pool, and that was
he knew a guy. But other than that, I think the casting was on point. But I didn't like him in the first film he was in. I was like, really? That's Flash? Like, he's supposed to be a flipping astronaut and doing things and like, what? No.
Yeah.
Yes.
It didn't. Okay, so there were a couple of conversations that I seen earlier in different threads where people were talking about some people were okay and they were fine with the way, you know, the entry of you know, both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. They were fine. Some were like, oh, they could have had a better entry. And I'm like, well, how?
The grandmother?
No, that entry was perfect. It was perfect.
But here's the thing. Where they went wrong was people actually thought that Ned opened up a gateway, a portal to the multiverse.
No.
And I'm like, no.
They were already here.
They were already here.
But if they paid attention... if they paid attention, they would know, because they both said they've been looking for their Peter Parker since they arrived.
Everyone was probably still screaming when he was explaining that.
Can we talk about how it took Doctor Strange a whole flipping movie to learn how to use those sling rings, and Ned figures it out in 10 minutes.
That's why at the end he looked at him like, "You opened the portal."
Yeah,
Okay.
I need them to explain something.
Yeah. I'm like,
Also,
really?
did anybody notice at the beginning of the movie that Benedict Cumberbatch is wearing a wig, and it's really bad.
Oh my god,
it's really
his wig
noticeable.
It's so bad.
It's so bad. Later on, if like after that first opening part where he's in there and it's like cold in the Sanctum Sanctorum and everything, notice he doesn't have the normal like hair curl, the natural ones coming right there.
I think
it's like this painted on widow's peak, and it's this like it's like a fucking helmet on his head.
Weird.
Go back and watch it when you. I'm telling you, it's so bad.
And then MJ finds the box of hair dye.
The hair dye, yep.
The wig.
Yeah.
The
I
wig
wish
is
I
getting
had
worse.
that.
If Spider-Man
is
shows
getting
up in
worse.
my house at some point, I'm definitely having him get down the cobwebs from the top of the cat.
But yeah, anybody who thinks that wasn't a good entrance,
that was great.
I don't know. I don't even know how to carry that conversation on because.
The entire
and here's the
theater
thing.
was electric. Like the entire theater was just buzzing.
Like I said,
it was like we were at one big ass party. It felt like a fucking concert.
Yep. And Joe, you had asked like who got the bigger pop, and in my theaters, both times it was Andrew Garfield.
Mine too.
But so the thing for me, and I've made it abundantly clear, Lael, Vinny, you guys all know, I honestly have no love for the Raimi trilogy. I was not a big fan of the Raimi trilogy.
Dude,
I think there were
Spider-Man
some
2.
really great elements of Spider-Man 2. But overall, I was not a big fan of it. And I didn't really dig Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker or Spider-Man. But I'll tell you, I loved him in this movie as the elder statesman Peter. The elder statesman, the guy who I've been doing this for 20 years. He came across better, in my opinion, as that kind of like, look, I've been doing this for a hot minute.
He plays it so low key, right? He lets
exactly.
It breathe.
He was the cool youth pastor, right?
he was so
I
chill.
love that line. But that's the thing. He played it in this way, and then when he sees Otto and he's like, Peter, you're all grown up, and like it hit for me, and that's coming from somebody who does not enjoy and will never go back and rewatch those. I did a rewatch recently in the last like 3 months of the Sam Raimi films, and I will never watch them again because I don't enjoy them. But
Spider-Man
the way
2 is sick.
he did that, like he was so good in that role, and the chemistry between the three of them, and the fact that nobody was overshadowed, that nobody was just set dressing and like, you're here for a cameo. It didn't feel like cameos. They felt like each one of them had something important to impart on Tom Holland, and then Tom Holland, not as much for Toby, but for Andrew, he helped him like get to that next step of forgiving himself for Gwen's death, of like moving forward and realizing that the dark, bitter, not pulling my punches Spider-Man is not the way to go. There was evolution and closure for Andrew Garfield's version of Spider-Man in a way that we never got, because we didn't get a third film where we saw the fallout of what life was like after Gwen died. And I really, really hope that we get a different universe. We get an Amazing Spider-Man 3 where they go back and now we see years later what that effect is on Andrew Garfield now that he's met these other Spider-Men and what happens next. Because I think that would be amazing. And now that they've opened the door for the multiverse and specifically these characters, there's no reason they can't do that.
Hey, Lael.
Yeah.
You know who I felt like that about? What Brandon was saying about right there is Norman Osborn. Because like just the short amount of screen time where he's talking to May at the shelter.
Yeah.
I felt more connection with Norman Osborn's character development in that scene than the entire first film.
I agree.
I was just like, this is amazing. I felt empathy for him. I felt sympathy. I felt for the guy.
It was more accurate to the comics than the original Raimi movie was in terms of the Goblin character.
And he even got up that something of a scientist myself meme.
Yeah, yeah. It is. I think it's attached to, like we were talking about. They wanted to shed light on just the level of mental illness, and it was. And the biggest thing about that was the simple fact that they did use that moment with May in the shelter.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I mean, that was important. It was really important how they basically did that,
and the way she broke it down to Peter.
Yeah,
like no, you don't understand. Like this is how it is, and he really got it at that point. And I just felt that just how in Spider-Man 2, how Alfred Molina was amazing in that. I felt like they did that with Norman Osborn here, and they gave him his due.
Yeah, it wasn't just about what we saw with Norman Osborn in the first film was just him as a threat, power hungry individual, but we didn't really tap into the mental aspect of it like we did with this particular film. Whereas you in the beginning, you were suspect, you grew to have empathy, then you hated him when he killed Aunt May.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. And then in the very end, you're like, okay, when he's like, what did I do? You understood.
Yeah. But it was the line before that was so impactful for me when he said, I may have struck the blow, but you killed May. Right. Like when he said that to Peter, it was like it struck everything about that sacrifice that we were talking about earlier, that, you know, that's what he's like, I was the weapon. He's like, but it's your fault. And he's got to deal with that fallout and whether or not it was worth it, whether or not he did the right thing. And that was just another twist of the knife that the Goblin gave him before he was cured. And again, it's just that, and the dichotomy between the Goblin and Osborn that was done very campy in the original Raimi, and not in an emotionally impactful sense like we've seen a lot of stories in the comics. We've never gotten that until this movie. Right. Which is what I think just adds so many layers to the Raimi trilogy from before, because now we actually get something that we didn't get in that I feel like we should have.
Yeah, they get an A+.
Real quick, we got a super chat from SpongeBob. SpongeBob.
He did it again. He couldn't even get
I'm
through
so
it.
glad that Ned is magic. I hope they explore that. They probably will. I mean, especially since we know that Doctor Strange sees that.
I have a question though.
Once they get the memory back, though.
Also, real quick, we got a super chat by Gorilla Pimp 42420. He said, "Merry Christmas, Lael. Thank you very much for that, man." But Benny, what were you going to say?
Yeah, like remember how we seen pictures of Ned all buff and like that he had been working out? Was that after this wrapped? Because
it was like during.
Because it seemed like those pictures were like 2-3 years ago. So I'm not sure when this film, because it looked like he wasn't anywhere near that shape. Obviously,
he lost 102 pounds, and a lot of it was like as this film was filming, but then after too. So he lost more after, but he did over the course of like 2.5 years. He lost like 102 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good for him.
But
also, he was wearing a wig in this movie too, because he's got a shaved head.
But in all the pressers, he looks the same weight in the movie. So did he put it back on?
He might.
I don't think so.
Quarantine.
I mean, it looks it. I mean, because all the red carpet stuff, he looks like he does in the film. He looks like his usual Ned.
Too, when he looks, he looks like
I don't know. Maybe
it's like maybe there was a multiverse Ned that took those pictures. I don't know.
He just had a big Thanksgiving. He had a big Thanksgiving.
Let's talk real quick about the course corrections that they've actually made in this film.
Huge course correction.
They made some huge course corrections, but before we get there, how many? I'm gonna start, Rob. I'm gonna start with you real quick, and then I'm gonna go around. Yeah, we're gonna start with Rob real quick. Rob, when we got the fracture of the multiverse, how many silhouettes did you actually point out, or were you able to basically?
Dude, not many. Like Scorpion, I think I saw Scorpion, Rhino, maybe.
Yes.
Though it was so fleeting, and what was interesting when I was too late when I actually was registering what was going on. I was like, and then it was like gone.
I only got 2 more besides that.
I can't wait to get the disc and freeze frame.
Just freeze it.
I was like, pause it.
I know. I kept going. Oh, let me pause and rewind. It's like, oh wait, shit, I can't do that. I'm in the fucking theater. This is weird.
Yeah, it was. We as seeing it 3 times, it was still impossible to kind of pick out because I'm trying to look at every aspect, and I still picked out the same individuals with one that I couldn't. It was so quick. It was.
I got 4 total.
You got
Wow.
I got the ones that he said, and then I also saw. So it was Scorpion, Rhino, Craven, and Black Cat.
Yeah. Did you see somebody with a spear?
Yeah, I did.
Craven.
That was crazy.
That was Craven. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we did see Craven. So
All right.
I don't know. So now let me ask you, Matriarch, what do you think? What are the chances that some of them actually got through?
I don't know. I think that was just kind of like an Easter egg for us. I don't know that they're actually gonna tap into that or go that route.
Yeah.
I do think with this little symbiote that was left, they could go the Craven route. Because didn't he have the black suit in that in Craven's Last Hunt?
Craven's Last Hunt, he gets the black suit after he supposedly kills Spidey. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, we could do that. I think that this darker Spider-Man might fall in with the Felicia Hardy. Maybe seems like a good old toxic relationship. While he's pining over MJ. But I think that was kind of just for us. I think that was just a little, like, hey, we could do this. Hey guys, but Sony, I can't. I want to give Sony so much, but I just can't. You give them an inch, they just stab you in the back.
Fuck it up.
Exactly.
I don't know. We'll hopefully they could make it up. And speaking of like the whole symbiote situation, that was kind of nice to see. And the thing is, it's like Marvel's way of saying, here's the thing. And Rob, we talked about this. I don't want people to think that I dislike Tom Hardy's Venom because it's entertaining. He's entertaining, and I want to look beyond that level of it. He's entertaining as a person, as an actor. Was he a good fit for Venom in that version of Venom? And the writing for that is where it went horribly wrong. Their idea for that character went horribly wrong. But I don't want to think, and I don't want anybody to think that I am disrespecting Tom Hardy by any means. But I will say I am happy.
Yes.
Because they could do it their own way.
Exactly.
And it could still be Tom Hardy.
Yeah,
it can.
It can be a variant.
No, but it doesn't have to be that version of Eddie Brock, Vinny. That's
Exactly.
the thing. It can be Tom Hardy playing the right version. Because
Right.
that's it. Look, I said to you guys, like, I've made no qualms about how pissed off I was at Let There Be Carnage. It was like, I felt like somebody just walked into my living room and took a shit right on my living room floor. That's how, like, upset I was with that movie, all right? And this was, and there were interviews where Kevin Feige was saying, like, oh, this, Tom Hardy was just so great as Venom that we had to find a way to bring that version into the MCU. No. He was full of shit there. He was just being nice. He was saying, look, we like Tom Hardy, but Sony, you fucked up, and we're going to fix it now.
Yeah.
And we're going to take this, and then what we're going to do is we're going to get this little sliver of the symbiote so we can keep it. Because you remember in the post-credit scene in Let There Be Carnage, the symbiote says, we've gone across universes.
Yes.
And the knowledge we have would blow your mind. So the symbiote had the knowledge, was able to be pulled in and stuck around, and now we get that, so that symbiote can give us a proper Venom origin story for this universe. And then Kevin Feige was like, bitch, please, like, go. Like, get back to the Sony universe.
It felt like they were like doing press screening even before that. Before they actually showed it to the audience and the critics, that they sat back and they had like a private screening. Amy Pascal was there, Kevin Feige was there. They showed the entire film. They showed that scene and didn't say anything. And then at the end, when we see that little slither of the symbiote, Amy Pascal was like, "What the fuck?" He was like, "Roll the credits, roll the credits."
Right? Yeah. I mean, it really felt like, yeah, we're sorry for their shit. We didn't have nothing to do with that. We're gonna fix it now. Don't worry, we got you. And obviously, as you could make a plot hole out of it, because obviously you should say no part of Venom should have been able to stay. But I am more than willing to overlook that. I'm extremely excited about a chance for Venom to be done correctly in the MCU. Now, of course, it would have been great if it was on another planet, if it was part of the Secret War story, but we can't have everything. So I'll at least take Venom, who symbiote who attaches to Pete and gets his, his likeness and his, his agility, his powers, and his look from Spider-Man, and his obsession with Spider-Man makes sense, as opposed to adding Spider-Man after the fact to try to appease fans, because it's so backwards, and there's so many different characters where you could give them their own story and then add the protagonist after the fact. But Spider-Man and Venom's relationship is not one of those stories. They are inherent and they're entwined. They're literally symbiotic. They need each other.
And this was Kevin Feige's "Bye Felicia" moment.
Exactly. So this is Feige. This is Feige saying, "Look, we gotta butt heads and figure out how to fix this, and here's what can we do to get this character, because it's too big a character to just have it going the way the Sony Venom movies are going." And they know that even though those films are making money, there's a lot of hardcore fans who would love to see it done properly, and this is that opportunity. I was beyond, because think about it, like, what if by the time that Venom and MCU movie comes around, Fantastic Four are here and they can help him build a Sonic gun?
There you go. Hopefully, Jed, I know you said you had to bounce, man, but any last thoughts you have?
No, man, I'm gonna go see it again, probably Christmas Day. I'll probably go see it again, and I'm excited for it. I agree with everything you guys said about Venom. I'm glad it is something else, and we can get rid of that, and we can just pretend that those films don't even exist. And the only thing good that came out of those films is the Hot Toys Venom figure, and that's
agreed.
It.
Which I have, and I haven't even opened it yet, bro.
Yeah,
I haven't had the time, so I'm going to actually do it.
Well, you should make time. It's fantastic.
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait till Rob gets his, so then we can actually do a live unboxing.
Nice. All I can say is lift with your legs. Lift with your legs is a big.
It's that heavy, right?
Yeah, I'm actually I'm ready to go see it again, honestly. And I know somebody mentioned Matrix earlier, as far as overshadowing it. And yes, Spider-Man is way bigger than the Matrix. And
yeah, it is.
I appreciate you guys letting me on. I do need to jet.
Yeah, what you got coming up, man?
Very good chat with you guys. So best of luck.
Yeah, what you got coming up before you leave, though?
I just I think I showed this earlier. I just finished this video of this guy.
Okay.
So Zombie Deadpool. I got the Stormtrooper Commander in today, and I got a freaking White Power Ranger in from 3-0 today. So I don't know what the hell that's all about. But
I was gonna ask you about that. I was like, oh.
And Battle Damage Shazam.
Battle Damage Shazam coming Christmas Day, and you take that to the bank. It's worth it. What else? Oh, I got the So Toys Green Goblin that I haven't. I've had a busy week. I didn't do anything this past week, so I got to do something this week. And by the end of the year, I'm giving myself a deadline. By the end of the year, or maybe January 1, room tour coming up.
Okay.
So.
Finally, I got a couple sneak peeks, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I got to patch some holes. Like you see this, I got to patch some holes. But I'm working on some stuff. So
hey, and guess what? Not me, but somebody else is asking for Blame Jetta t-shirt, bro.
I got them. They're made. I have them made. They just got to get shipped out. Done.
Mm-hmm.
Done.
Okay, there we go. All right, man. Well, look, it was good having you on tonight, man. Thank you for coming through. Always, it's a pleasure, man. And we got to do it again. You already know that.
We will do it. You guys have a good one.
Right.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Take it easy, man.
All right, see you later, man.
See you later.
Yeah. Who was gonna say what? I just heard somebody.
I was just gonna say that I can't fault Tom Hardy for shitty writing. That's all I'll say about that. Because
no, it's not his fault.
It's not. I mean, just saying that people can write him off as their Eddie Brock, but I'm like, in my mind, I'm just like, if Kevin Feige was around and handled that ship, everything would have been right with Tom Hardy, I believe.
I think Feige would have cast him as Wolverine instead of Eddie Brock.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree with that too. Maybe. Depends how young they want to go with.
Yeah,
Wolverine.
I just think that it's Kevin Feige saying that he does want to course correct a certain way without taking it. And it's a good way to do it, considering the simple fact that they have introduced the multiverse the way they have, so that Sony can still have theirs and he can have his, and that's, pretty much
Him sitting there going, how am I going to get the symbiote into the MCU?
Exactly.
We could still get Carnage eventually.
Yep.
Yeah.
We can get a good Carnage. We'll see how that goes. We'll get another Carnage. What were you gonna say, Ron?
I honestly, though, I don't know if Venom and Carnage belong in the MCU.
It'll be just as hard for Disney to do Carnage as it was for Sony. So yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, I think the one thing about the MCU is they've leaned in more to, if this makes sense, a certain reality.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, like, I've never liked Venom, to be honest. I've never liked Venom in the comics. There's never been, Lethal Protector, maybe. But for the most part, I've always thought it was a goofy character. I mean, it's really over the top as far as it's very comic booky.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in the MCU, they've really done a great job of, like, I remember first watching Iron Man thinking, I really liked Iron Man. I don't know if any of you have gone back to watch Iron Man recently, but it's a great story, but it's about one man's redemption. It's Tony Stark developing a conscience, realizing I shouldn't be producing these weapons. My company shouldn't be doing this. And the big conflict comes with Obadiah Stane, his mentor. He's just a guy, and they end up battling. Ironmonger fights Tony Stark in the suit. And it's a very personal story. And I was always wondering, okay, how are they going to put Thor and Asgard into the world with Iron Man? But it worked. They were able to create Asgard because they created it as it's more of an alien world than it is gods, like the gods of Olympus or something. And it was mostly its technology. And then they went back and they did a really great job of and I thought it was great hiring the director, the man who directed The Rocketeer, who'd worked on Star Wars movies, comes in to direct Captain America, The Winter Soldier.
Joe Johnston.
Joe Johnston. And they really
he worked on Raiders too.
Yeah, he did. He worked on a lot of ILM. He did so much stuff for years, and he really grounded that as well. So the fact that they were able to establish Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America, and they've done a pretty good job. Even Hulk, when Hulk was first introduced as not Incredible Hulk with the Abomination, but with Mark Ruffalo, they really kept it grounded. And sometimes they would push it just to the edge, like when Hulk punches Thor in the first Avengers.
Yeah.
But Venom and Carnage, unless they were handled, I think, very differently than we've seen them handled already, I don't know if they work in the confines. I think some characters just are too far. They push it. I thought Loki, I've said this before, I think the Loki TV series pushed the MCU too far over the edge in terms of reality and believability, because it blew open that reality, I think, too much. And now we'll see where, as I was watching Multiverse of Madness, I'm curious to see if they can rein it in a little. Because if the multiverse becomes too big, it threatens to swallow the reality that they've developed over the course of these 27 movies and the 5 series that we've seen so far.
They do push an envelope here and there, though, because, I mean, the violence part is a big part, but, I mean, we have Groot in this universe. So
I know, and they've made that work. But,
it's all about bringing the right filmmaker for each one to handle the specific characters the right way. And make that introduction. And James Gunn was perfect for Guardians, just like Joe Johnston nailed it for Cap. And so, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of characters that we're about to get. I mean, we just got the Eternals. I never thought we were going to get that. Stuff like Thanos is a crazy kind of character.
Types of movies. That's what's great. There's movies where, someone like Venom or Groot doesn't belong in like Hawkeye show, but then there's Guardians of the Galaxy where someone like Venom could absolutely exist, or Spider-Man where someone like Sandman is perfectly normal. I love that there's so many different genres, subgenres within the MCU now.
Yeah, it's just a question of tone and how it's handled.
Yeah, I mean, we can have Thanos over here and Tracksuit Mafia over here.
Exactly. Right. And it all makes sense.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Rob, because, I mean, coming from me, I don't know all of the comics, especially not as much as you guys do. But to hear you say all of that about Venom, Like me just watching the movies, I'm like, I don't like this character. Like this sucks. Where does this fit in?
That's because you're seeing.
Well, yeah, those movies. You can't judge it.
They suck so much.
No, I don't like it. And then to hear you say, you know all of the backstory and all of that.
Yeah, it's just too goofy.
You know who I'm very hopeful for handling Venom the right way is Insomniac Games with the Spider-Man 2 video game.
They made those movies so comical and so funny. That's why a lot of the people who like Venom don't like those movies, because Venom doesn't joke in the comics. He's not constantly one-liners.
No, it's not him.
They turned Venom into Deadpool.
Yeah, and that's thing. And here's a good point. Sony was looking for its version of Deadpool, and they used Venom as a trope to do so. And the thing is, I think, to be quite honest, I don't think that Kevin Feige liked that. I don't think that he basically
no, not at all.
That it was a character that could have been utilized in such a good way. Here's the thing. With Venom, in order for it to work, it has to start from grassroots. It has to start where originally it started from, as a symbiote, as basically an attachment to Peter Parker first. We have to see it that way first. We have to see that dichotomy first. We have to see just how he struggles with it first before it's then passed off.
It needs to be rejected by Peter.
It needs
it's such a bigger deal that he's blessed with getting reattached to Peter as opposed to just wanting brains as his motivation, like a zombie.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It wasn't, and that was the biggest mistake that Sony made, that whole brains thing. Like, that was something that they utilized as, they just wanted to use that to throw it in there to make him more like a whimsical type of character.
They made him a zombie.
It really
made him a zombie. That's not Venom.
Really diminished
in so many different aspects. It's not Venom.
Yeah, it took away the importance of a character and what it could have been for the Spider-Verse. And I think that's what even Kevin Feige seen. It was like, you know what? Nah, we got to fix this some way, somehow. We're going to fix it our way. You know what I mean? And that's why when people were like temporarily for a second to have that conversation with the bartender and then zip right out, leaving a bit of that symbiote back. It was like, okay, cool.
That was his reset button.
Yeah, and when people are so focused on Venom not having the spider symbol I'm like, really? With everything that was wrong with those movies and that interpretation of the character, that's the thing you're gonna harp on? Like, come on. Like, forget that. I don't care if he has a spider symbol. He needs his origin with Peter and Eddie Brock the right way.
Yeah, real quick, we got a super chat from Vic L. Gambino, $1.99 squad. The movie redeemed Andrew Craven was there. We talked about that real quick. We got a $5 super chat real quick from Sean Smith. Blade is coming. Hold my beer. Johnny Depp is in talks. Do more vamp. What?
Take my money.
He's in talks to do a vampire? What?
Is he in talks to be Dracula?
I think he's saying Johnny Depp is in talks to be in Blade. And then he's like, do more. And then do more vampire stuff. Take my money. I don't know.
Well, if he's going to be in Blade, he's definitely going to be a vampire.
I don't know.
Johnny Depp is a really good actor, so
he is a good actor, but I don't know if they want that smoke in Marvel right now. Like, seriously, like,
I
hope so. If anybody should be canceled, it should be Amber, not him.
Well, no, and that's the thing. That's what it came out as. So it was weird that DC kept Amber Heard in there, but then dropped him. And then Warner Brothers dropped him from like the Fantastic Beasts franchise or whatever. I don't know. Johnny Depp will be fine. If Kevin Feige thinks he's the right guy for a role, he'll bring him in. That, I don't know what role he would be up for, but the guy's an amazing actor, so we'll see. I'm just excited for that movie regardless.
Look at who they cast as their Robert Downey Jr. Like, he
uninsurable at the time.
Uninsurable, exactly.
That was a big risk.
That was a huge risk for him.
Yes. So
taken by Jon Favreau, who was like, "No, this is the guy." The funny thing is, too, Jon Favreau has been such a a small but important role in Peter's life in this, and just in the MCU in general. He's not supposed to be around anymore. The original script for Iron Man 3 had Happy dying.
Yeah.
And Jon Favreau was the one who gave Kevin Feige the note on the script and was like, what if he doesn't die, but he's just seriously injured and we can keep him around? And they did that. And now look at all the touchstones that he's had throughout this, especially for Peter. He was supposed to die in that third Iron Man movie.
So, okay. So now I want to get to that big slice because I was happy to see it. Vinny, I'm not
we talked about the trailer.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm pretty sure you need to because you knew we were going to dip into that, bro. So
Yeah, it's all good. Go ahead.
There's no way he's going to be able to avoid this particular element.
It
It's
doesn't
just
come
not
out
going to
till, like,
happen.
May or
Yeah, it was so
something.
funny because like I dipped out after the second credit because I looked up that it was just a Doctor Strange trailer and I was like, all right, I'm good. And everyone was probably like, oh, you leaving during the credits? And it's like, nope, I'm leaving during the trailer.
It's like, I know what I'm doing, motherfucker.
I know what I'm doing. I've been around the block a few times.
So okay, so Vinny, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead, just go ahead.
So we got the trailer. We all knew basically that Wanda was going to be in this particular film. So we knew that. What role she was going to, because we heard rumors. I think Rob had heard on when you were on John Camper, y'all were talking about before that, you know, we were wondering if she was going to be the villain of the film. And now we're discovering that she's not the actual villain of the film, but it's
I think it's a misdirect. I think it's a misdirect.
It's a red herring.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot more going on. I mean, what I find really interesting when I was actually out at Manhattan Beach Studios where they shoot Disney's, it's the place where they make The Mandalorian and they have the volume stages where they're shooting the stagecraft stuff. They have that facility booked out like 4 years in advance. It's really interesting. I was in a room and we were in a total separate meeting for something else, but there was a big blackboard on the wall that had the schedule for the next 3 years. And it was like, you're just looking at it going, oh, what they're doing is pretty amazing. And at the time we were there, they were shooting She-Hulk. They were shooting She-Hulk in the offices of Marvel as Marvel.
wow.
So it's going to be very meta, just like the John Byrne run on She-Hulk. Very meta. And I know that anyway, they were doing reshoots for Doctor Strange. And the thing is, these are the Marvel movies now, all of them have reshoots. They're built into the schedule.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that as things have rolled along, they can go to actors now and go, hey, would you like to come in and do a bit for a couple of days on a Marvel movie to play a character? I'm sure everybody in Hollywood's like, yeah, man, I'll do that.
Hell yeah.
Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? And so I know that they've been adding lots of people, and it'll be really interesting to see what we're going to get from this movie. I think it's going to be totally bonkers.
Lael, do you remember who I said I thought the villain was going to be? You remember who I said I thought? I said that I thought the villain of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was going to be Doctor Strange.
Yeah, well, that's
a version of him. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do think Wanda's going to be let's call her a problem.
She's going to be.
Oh, I think she's going to be. I think she's going to be more of a protagonist. I think she's going to be maybe the main protagonist.
So do you think that? Okay, so with that basically being said, you think that she's going to go rogue because she's up against, well, not even up against the ropes, but just it's untapped power. But at the same time, even though she's studying and learning the book, she's still teetering on that level of darkness to the point where she could really go overboard. Like, of course, she's tried to do good, but she can go overboard if pushed that direction. And do you think that Dark Strange or Strange Supreme will be the one to push her that way?
Absolutely.
Well,
I think she's
her whole
good.
her whole thing is chaos magic. So it's kind of like even if it works, it's going to be unconventional magic. So even when she's doing what she's supposed to be doing, like a lot of her spells and the things that she does in the comics is breaking the laws of witchcraft that it's set up. It's part of why Agatha didn't want her to be on the scene and didn't want her to be active, because the way she does magic is literally chaos.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, there's two people here who are two of the most powerful magic users in Marvel, and seeing them just let loose is going to be insane. I'm so glad that it's not long wait.
Insane.
Yeah.
It's only like 7 more months, I think. 6-7 months.
Counting down.
Yeah.
Counting down. And here's the thing. If anybody thought, and Vinny, I'm sorry, bro, but if you thought that This was just okay. This is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to what if. This is
Right.
one of the
Somebody
only
clip this
times-
out for Justin so we can send it to him.
Exactly. We had this conversation. It was Will and Justin on the show, and they were talking about, nah, we don't think that we're going to see, I don't think that we're going to actually see anyone from, What If in the cinematic universe.
They said that if Marvel cared enough about them, they would have been in live action from the start. To which Lael and I said, just you wait.
Yeah.
Kevin Feige said that he was wanting to explore Captain Carter and what if characters in live action. So,
I mean, there's only so much that they can do. Them making it animated was a shortcut.
Yeah. It was a hot and on top of that, I have a strange feeling, and no, I don't even have a strange feeling.
I see what you did there.
Unintended.
Pun intended. Pun intended. But at the same time, think about
Peter
it.
Tingle?
It's what they did in last season's and actually the last episode of What If. It's what they did and how they weave certain things in, pulling Black Widow in from a different multiverse or different into, you know what I mean? So
that's like we've been talking about that for months. That's going to solve any problem that it's going to potentially solve any problem that they have with casting in any future problem. In the future, they can recast T'Challa, they can cast Tony, they can recast anybody they want by just pulling them in from a different universe. And that is a forever fix. It's like they set up a forever easy pass to get away with any. Think about how many, like we just said earlier, there's 27 films, there's hundreds of actors, there's Chadwick Boseman, that's not going to be the first time something happens to an actor that they're relying on and it screws up filmmaking. There's going to be other instances where someone gets in trouble for something, where someone passes away, or someone gets too old and they want to restart the character, and this is their door where they can just replace that character without it being a roadie situation where it's super obvious that they just had to recast. They'll be able to pull that character in from a multiverse, and it's a simple, easy fix forever.
Right.
What If also lays the groundwork for different plot elements too, in addition to the recasting. Remember, Arnim Zola, his AI, his consciousness in What If didn't get blown up and killed in that bunker from Winter Soldier. It was backed up to another site, and Arnim Zola and Hydra came back. So if you think we've seen the last of Hydra
Hydra Cap
in the MCU, you're crazy. And Arnim Zola is a perfect way for them to kickstart that again. And his AI consciousness 100% was backed up somewhere else when that bunker got blown up, because he's not just going to be like, okay, yeah, for Hydra, kill me. Right. And also, Arnim Zola was definitely going to be all about self-preservation. You got that from his character in the comics and in that movie. So his brain, he's floating around somewhere out there. And there are a lot of these elements in What If that we're gonna see play out in live action. They didn't decide to do What If for shits and giggles.
Right.
There's a very specific reason why they wanted to bring that to Disney Plus.
Right. Yeah. When I heard that they were going to do another Doctor Strange 2 live action.
Yeah.
And then just watching the What Ifs and seeing Strange's episode, I knew right off I'm a big time geek, so that you guys know. Okay. We'll get into that maybe later down the line. But when they showed his episode, and I'm like, okay, they're coming out with a Strange 2, he has to show up. He has to show up. Just meeting himself at a different time, in a different era, at a different mind frame. He has
power
to show
level.
up. So to see that trailer at the end of Spidey, I'm like, this was right on time. Like I knew.
We also caught a little What If Easter egg earlier in this movie when Strange sends the cloak
to Spidey.
Yeah.
Right? Early on when he grabs the box. Mm-hmm. So there are these nods to What If that your casual observer would think, oh, that's, even if they caught it, they think, oh, that's just a coincidence, or it's just a little. It's like there are no coincidences when Kevin Feige is at work.
Nope.
He is the puppeteer. He's doing all of it, and that's why we said it's like, look, he loves the comics. And he's not just making movies. He's bringing what he loves from the page onto the screen, and he's gonna do it in some ways that if you're not paying attention, you're like, what if was not an accident? Like 100%, I guarantee we will see Captain Carter.
Yes,
I
Miles is
guarantee we will see Captain
Yep.
Carter.
Well, like the inky black, right? The inky black and the destruction of the buildings that was in What If, and we saw that. We saw that in the.
Yep.
I looked at it and went, "Oh, that's What If right there."
Yep.
Just like we saw, and if you see it quick, you get a quick snippet of Dark Strange wielding the magic, and especially from the dark dimension. You see the dragons. You see basically all four forms of tentacles. You've seen everything. You know what I mean? So
how much can we say because of Vinny?
Go ahead. It's cool.
If he didn't hit the mute button, we good.
Hey Rob, what's your opinion? Because is it Shuma Gorath or is it Garganton?
Yeah, I think it's I don't think it's Shuma Gorath.
I think it's Garganton.
Yeah,
Yes, Garganton.
Yeah.
Not Shuma, that's too big to throw into all the other shit going on.
It's Garganton.
Yeah, it is. And
I
loved seeing that though.
Yeah,
and the thing is, Raimi. Remember, we got Sam Raimi, the director of The Evil Dead. You know, he's bringing. I think he was sort of born to direct this movie. I think it's going to have
to bring in Dark Strange. Absolutely.
I mean, he's going to and
all
all this
dark horror. A comedic,
and I think there's going to be a lot of that. There's going to be a lot of Lovecraftian elements to this.
Exactly.
You know, whether not quite Cthulhu, but the old ones and the
right.
I mean, we're going to see a lot of that. But my fear is we know that we're getting Kang in Quantum Mania, which is also going to have an element of a multiverse.
Yeah,
right.
So I really do want them at some point to tie off the multiverse, because if we have access to the multiverse all the time, I mean, I'm hoping this is a multiverse. It's almost like a comic limited series, and it's going to end. You know, they'll cut it off.
Well, can't America Chavez just jump between universes?
Yes.
So how are they going to really tie it off?
It feels like a phase situation, but that they'll probably end it where it could be accessible in dire straits. Like Ben Cave mentioned in the chat, either they could easily make it lose the weight of characters if they could just easily be replaced by other multiverses all the time. I don't think they're going. I don't think they're going to go to the well too many times. I think it's going to be just to solve major fixes on certain times. I don't think it's going to be something that they want to saturate.
No, but they'll basically close off the kind of access to jumping between universes, but then leave the door open for telling other stories in different universes. Right. Like for example, if they did an Amazing Spider-Man 3 with Andrew Garfield, if they did an Ultimate Universe with, say, Miles, right? So they'll open the door to be able to do those, and then and then at some point they might actually be like, okay, this is 616. And then this is, and have two separate kind of things, or it's cumbersome, and there are a lot of challenges in how they could do it, but we never thought they'd get this far.
Exactly.
So I'm willing to roll the dice on Kevin Feige.
Yeah, I'd like to see him back for Secret Wars.
Yeah,
bring the Spider-Man back for Secret Wars.
$2 super chat from Blurred Dad Life. Bruce Campbell in the MCU. Well, we're going to see.
Bruce Campbell
He'll probably be in this movie first.
He has to be. He does all the cameos with Sam, so
he's going to be in it.
He's
Sam
in it.
Basically, bring him in. There's no.
looks very happy.
And we'll see his card too.
Does look happy about
see his card too.
Bruce Campbell, and he does look kind of happy about it. Yo, so Matriarch, what did you think about the trailer?
It was kind of all over the place. Once again, the wigs were horrible, but I'm still excited to see it. I think everything is a misdirect though, and I think that's why it looks kind of disjointed and whatever. I think glad to see Mordo, because I thought he was gonna get kind of pushed in the closet somewhere with everything they got going on in this movie. So I was happy to see.
He's too good though.
He's too good of an actor to not let him back.
Is underrated in my opinion. So I'm glad to see him back. His wig was bad as well.
Yeah, man. Why did they
It
get
looked like it weighed 30 pounds.
I'm
They
deep.
gotta get this. But
That
you know,
was-
y'all are in Atlanta. Y'all can get some.
That was
better
Baron
wigs.
Bob Marley. That was
You might need
like
us on the set.
Yeah.
Exactly.
they need some help. But
I
thing
am
is,
excited. I'm excited for this movie. Really excited.
I'm hoping, and this is a stretch. This is really a stretch, but I'm really hoping to see, or at least a mention of Brother Voodoo. At least,
that would be great. Because his brother got killed.
His brother got killed, and which mainly it says so much. I'm happy that they did it that way because it sets the stage for Brother Voodoo's interest and his distaste for the Sanctum. You know what I mean?
Right.
His distaste for that level of match. So I'm hoping if they do something like that, or at least make some type of mention of it, it's going to be incredible. But yeah, I just love saying that I was right in that we are getting like literally. I love
What If in live action.
When I watched it, I was like,
what if Mordo kills Wong?
I could see that. I
don't know.
I really think Wong is gonna die.
You think he's gonna die?
Yeah, I really think he's gonna die.
I don't.
Somebody's gotta die.
No, not after Shang-Chi.
I think it'll. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Shang-Chi does make it a little problematic for them to do that, especially with them doing that with the director of Shang-Chi doing a series on Disney.
They're trying to get
afterward.
They're trying to get that Chinese market. They're not going to.
Yeah, but China hasn't played any MCU movies all year.
Yeah, that's true.
They're like, keep that shit over there.
Yeah.
That's true. And they already said that they have no plans on playing even
any Disney movies. Period.
But if he is gonna lose somebody, then like Wong makes sense.
Or it may not be Wong. It may be Rachel.
It could be, but the thing is, but losing Wong also gets him back the title of Sorcerer Supreme.
And Wong has always been the one to ground him, like tell him the rules and go, look, every time you screw up and do something I leave, you fuck shit up.
But
could be the next evolution of Strange's character, because now he doesn't have Wong to keep him in check.
But what would tether him more so? What would push him more towards that dark path than to be taunted by the simple fact that he could possibly lose Rachel, and for Dark Strange to tell him?
That's why I don't think he will. I think Dark Strange is going to make him fear that, and I think instead of losing her, he's going to lose Wong.
But here's what I'm saying: tethering that line, because he's already on that line at that point. Because if Dark Strange has already experienced that level, so how do you basically pull an individual in? Is not to tell him that he's already seen something like this coming in his own universe, and to say that, look, this is the result. But at the same time, it's like, yo, letting it happen just to taunt Strange. It's a vehicle. Like, here's the thing. Yes, Wong, that's completely understandable, but I'm telling you, Wong is not going to die.
Hey, I just need to know before they kill Wong, or if they do, I need to know what the hell he's doing with Abomination. I need to know what they're doing. I want to know what they're up to.
Yeah,
you know.
I feel like we got to get more.
They're making extra money because when they first introduced Wong, he was always borrowing cash.
He was always broke.
Right. Hey, maybe Wong shows up on She-Hulk.
Joey said Wong with the Thunderbolt with Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Government contract.
We're going to see. We're definitely going to see Wong, or actually, we're going to see the Abomination with the Thunderbolts. So that's where I think that we're going to actually see that version with them, and I think that's like part of his training, part of his.
Because they have an interesting relationship. I was like, that's like a big brother, like
it was like friendly,
I don't know. I don't. Again, I just don't think they're going to kill off Wong. I don't think Wong would be the person that they would actually let go. I think it's going to be more.
I better get a hot toy.
You know what's interesting though is without the time stone, what is the point of him still carrying the amulet of Eye of Agamotto?
I was just gonna say there's nothing in there.
There's nothing there. So is he just rocking it? It's just,
in the comics, it has other powers, right?
Right, but in MCU, it's not. There's no Eye of Agamotto.
Yeah, it was just the carrier for the time stone.
Yeah, they replaced it as a just a holder for the time stone. So without it, it's almost kind of like
it ties his outfit together.
He just likes the jewelry.
Yeah,
Maybe there's something else in there we don't know
his
about
flavor.
He got some mints in there. He got some mints in there.
I don't know.
Well, you could say too that it's a place where he focuses his energies. Like he needs that. That's just why the time stone was in there, is because whatever that thing does, it focuses the arcane energies that he's
makes sense
using.
It's a cool ass necklace, so I'm glad he still wears it. It's just there's no Ivagamora anymore, so maybe that we'll see that. Maybe we'll see.
Or it would be interesting for them to actually touch on, the source of Strange's powers, because remember, his powers come from different wizards, different sorcerers, borrowed power throughout time. Like, so basically that power isn't his own. It's borrowed power from different wizards, and the pretty much the pact that he actually made with them, which we haven't really seen yet. So it would be interesting to see, or to even touch on that. Perhaps we might see a bit of that in this film. That would be a stretch, but again, I mean, with Dark Strange and Wanda, it's just going to be so much to
we don't know. We might get a good Wanda and a dark Wanda. We don't know.
I think
multiverse.
I think that Wanda is going to be good for the whole film. I think she's going to get Strange through his trials in this movie. I mean, we'll see. I just loved,
unless she taps into her kids.
We'll see. I think they handled Strange and Wong really well in this movie, though, in Spider-Man, because everybody was so looking for Mephisto and looking for the Sinister Six that and the way they cut this trailer, though, they gave us a perfect misdirect, and they made it seem like there was tension between Wong and Doctor Strange.
Mephisto, man.
Oh, this is coming from the guy who says Thanos and Shang-Chi all the time. It's Thanos and Shang-Chi. So, all right. But the way they did that, though, they made it seem like there was all this tension between Wong and Doctor Strange. And there really wasn't. Like, Wong put up a fight for half a second, then it was like, just leave me out of it. Like, it was, and they made it seem like Strange was acting out of character in the trailers when he really, really wasn't. So, that's why any trailer, especially even going back to the Infinity War one, where they showed Hulk in the battle at in Wakanda, like, Marvel has no problem with misdirects in trailers. So, I mean,
I think there's a lot of misdirect in there.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is. It's just a matter of what it is.
I think Wanda will end up being a hero, but she's gonna go rogue at some point because they got to get the kids back.
Yeah,
they're assembling the young Avengers. They got to age them up somehow. I don't know if that's gonna be here, but
do you think Vision shows up?
Which one?
That's what I mean.
Like, Vision.
Yeah,
I think probably.
Because Vision would be her biggest trigger. Vision and the kids are her two biggest triggers.
Yeah.
Well, where the kids are, in the universe where Vision is still alive.
Yeah.
So she could be hearing the kids in the universe where Vision and her are all a family with the kids.
Right. The question is, will we see Agatha again, or will we see her in this film?
Well, probably she'll at least be after credit to set up her show.
See, this is so much. This is too much.
It's a lot.
It is a lot.
You know what's crazy though? Think about this. All that we're getting, and they still have to figure out how to bring on X-Men, which could be 40 different movies, and Fantastic Four, and they have to juggle all that on top of all this, and they're literally figuring out how to do it. And I don't even have any doubt that it'll be smooth. It's impossible. What they're doing is super impossible.
Yeah.
Are you guys reading Inferno?
No, is that a new X-Men thing?
Yeah, it's Jonathan Hickman. He's doing a 4-issue run.
I'm still catching up on my X books, so I'm working toward it, but I haven't done that or Trial of Magneto.
What did you guys think?
Inferno's fire.
Yeah, Inferno just started with a bang.
What'd you say, Rob?
What did you guys think of Hickman's revamp of the X-Men?
I love it.
With
I loved it too, actually.
But Hickman,
I like elements, and then others I'm a little iffy on. But
House of X is Power of 10.
I love it because I love the simple fact that it's its own. You're looking at its own pocket universe on this planet. Like, they basically have say and govern over their own. And we're seeing Professor X in a way that we've never seen, as malicious as he should be.
Love
And then
that.
on top of that, we're seeing somebody like you're seeing somebody like Apocalypse, like, yo, finally, I've been telling your ass this the longest time, like, finally you did it. Like, I love this element of it. Now, here's the thing. The only thing that I think that they should do, they need to do, is come on, man. Come on. Let Sabretooth out. Let him loose.
They are.
I feel like they're going to.
No, they are. Sabretooth and see, that was one of the things that I was going to mention when we do our like kind of suggestions at the end of our Monday comic. Sabretooth has a new book starting. It's in February or March. When is it? It's the first issue is February 2nd. And it's all about what's been happening to Sabretooth since he's been down in the hole and what happens when he gets out. So Sabretooth is coming. He's got his own book or a 5-issue miniseries starting in February.
And then Wolverine's got the lives and deaths of Wolverine.
Dude, there's so much cool stuff coming in.
So much great X-Men
that
stuff.
Marvel is well, not just X-Men.
Oh,
there's
Devil's
the new
Reign.
Iron Fist. That's coming in early 2022. There's a new Carnage coming in 2022. There's a new She-Hulk series,
She-Hulk run,
which we knew was going to come as they're getting into like the show. There's a new Ghost Rider with Johnny Blaze. There's a new mini series called Savage Spider-Man that's going to be pretty cool. And then there's another mini series, Gwenverse, which is like a bunch of different. It's like multiverse kind of thing with Gwen.
They're doing that with Miles too, right? Or they already did it.
No, they did. They kind of did one with Miles. I think they're going to go more later.
Okay.
The one with Gwen though is like. It's basically like different, almost like what ifs. Like in one universe, she's got like Wolverine's powers, and another one, she had the shield and the super soldier serum, and another one she's got Mjolnir. So it's like all these Gwens like pulling together. So there's a ton of really good new books coming in 2022, plus continuation of like really good stuff like the X books and like Moon Knight. So comic wise, the first 3 months of 2022 are going to be crazy.
What I do like about Hickman is he's pulling from the 90s and pulling from Chris Claremont and like tying it up and doing really nice callbacks.
Yeah.
And all I got to say, this last issue of Inferno is going to be insane.
It's funny because like Disney had Marvel kind of throttle and step on the throat of X-Men for so many years because all those characters and new ideas would have went straight
and
to
Fantastic Four. Yeah.
And Fantastic Four. So for years it's like they barely did anything with the Four or killed off the book completely. And then X-Men, it was just like literally no new mutants and just make it as shitty and crappy as possible so that way we're not hand feeding them ideas. And now that they're got their toys back, now it's floodgate.
Yeah, I'm for it.
It's good how they line stuff up though, like priority wise. Like you see like a She-Hulk show and you see a new She-Hulk book. You see, as they're getting ready to introduce mutants into the MCU, there's a big push in the X books. If you look at even the current run of Spider-Man too, it kind of lines up with what we just saw in No Way Home. Because in the current run, you got Peter injured. He was in a coma for a while. He's in the hospital. You have his clone, Ben Reilly, who is the Scarlet Spider, taking over. And he's like working with the Beyond Corporation and stuff. And he's got the high-tech suit and all the gadgets and gizmos and stuff. And he's basically kind of got like everything that Peter had when Stark was alive. And now Peter is going back to square one without any of that stuff, and it's just his suit and it's just him. So there's like they're following that same kind of through line in the comics that they are in No Way Home, where now he's moving away from the tech, and it's like, are you Spider-Man without the tech? So they're lining up a lot of stuff with the books in really cool ways. There's a new Black Panther line that they just started. Well, some of that kind of lines up with the sequel movie. There's a ton of stuff going on in Marvel Comics, and I guarantee you we're going to start seeing a lot of elements of those, like Moon Knight and stuff like that, from the books transferring into the iterations we're going to see on the screen.
Okay. So we're going to close out pretty much now. It's been a blast. Like I said, we're a little over 2 hours. Actually, we're over 2 hours and 15 minutes in. But it kind of, we knew that it was going to kind of go down or this path. It was going to be this long, but Thanks for everybody coming through. Everybody out in the chat, we love you guys. Lynch, what you got coming up next, bro?
Dang, I was about to super chat. You messed up my flow, dude.
Oh. He's like, come back to me.
The holidays. I'm on episode 5 of The Witcher season 2.
I'm about to go
hopefully I can wrap that up and get on to Lost in Space. And then this show on Mondays. And then I want to do some artwork for Rob for the Scale Wars thing.
Oh yeah, please do.
Yeah, so,
I don't have your email. You need to email me because I have some things I want to talk to you about anyway.
Yeah. But the Scale Wars thing, Lael, you got to go watch Fully Articulated. Watch this episode because me, Rob, and Az just lose it. And this guy
got demonetized.
Yeah, this guy just chimes in.
I'm trying to get on Fully Articulated, man.
He chimes in and he's talking about 12 scale versus 6 scale, and then he goes, "What are you guys trying to LARP a street fight?" And we, it was
I don't know why I got on this riff about wouldn't it be fun to have some kind of a war between our the scale war, and I was just riffing as if it was some kind of real thing, and I kind of went a little overboard.
It was funny.
People start jumping onto it. Now they want to do it. I'm getting people saying,
Rob, did you maybe have a drink or two during this stream?
No, that was a day stream.
Yeah.
No,
that doesn't answer
I
my
even
question.
mentioned it. I'm like, we're laughing, and Rob didn't even have a drink.
I was just so it was so funny. Like I just got kind of caught up in my own imagination. Like,
and now it's become a real thing, and people
now he declared war on the guy, so it's like fully legit. And then he's got Legos in Denmark. This one guy, and then he's got Play School or Playmobil.
And then this guy wrote me the funniest thing about how plushies are the original toys, and like as long as they have stuffing that you can never defeat them. I mean, people are sending me the craziest stuff, and so this idea
now.
Yeah, and I think this idea that that you got to play it totally straight. Like there's a world that exists where the scales are different realms of like the realms of men in Middle Earth, but in this world it's the realms of scales, and like there is Legoland. Legoland is real.
Scale story.
And Rob's like, "What are you gonna do? We just hit you or drop you, and you explode."
Yeah, I mean, it just was absurd, but it was hilarious.
It was funny.
It was pretty funny, and it just kept going on and on and on.
Well, you know we got to see it, bro. You already know we got to see it.
Well, I know. And it was funny because if you really think about it, if you like 1/12 scale, you can get all of the X-Men, but you can't in 6 scale. You can get a few X-Men.
Yeah.
But although Justin has and are only licensed 12th scale figures or licensed 6 scale figures, or can you go into third party figures? I mean, it becomes a whole thing. A whole thing.
What's that? Is
Hey,
that Hot Toys?
Did they just drop something?
Yeah, because
I figured that.
If
Matrix.
anybody hasn't downloaded,
It's Keanu.
Hey, Brendan, did you download that Matrix demo?
I haven't yet. I'm going to, but I haven't yet.
Okay, I haven't been blown away by a video game in a long time, but after you get through the shooting section of this and then you actually get to roaming the streets and seeing this thing,
yeah,
my mind was blown. Insane. It looked real. It looks real.
Oh yeah, it's very difficult to tell that.
What game system is it for?
PS5 or Xbox Series X.
Oh, so I can download on my PS5.
Yes, do it, dude. I was just.
I keep meaning to download that. I'm looking forward to checking that out too.
Yeah,
my daughter,
we knew that.
She said, "Wow, I'll come in right at the end." It's okay, baby. You came through. That's
you can
all
watch the recording. You can watch the recording.
Watch it.
We knew that Howard was not going to let a Keanu go by without. Yeah, so it's a question of whether he does any other characters besides Neo from it. Well, that remains to be seen. But we knew we were
get
going to
a Trinity this time.
Come on, give us a Trinity this time, bro. Come on.
I agree, but.
We got a $7.99 super chat from Ashley Chase. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas to everyone, and happy and safe New Year. Thank you very much for that. Happy holidays to you too, Ashley. Thank you for that. Vinny, what you got coming up next, brother?
Well, Wednesday I'm having a thing in my house. We're we're gonna be watching Matrix on HBO Max, and we have a little holiday thing at the house, and we'll be doing that. Of course, Hawkeye is Wednesday as well. We got a lot of art projects now that I have some free time that I'm literally like juggling between 2 to 3 different art projects. So I have a lot coming down the pipeline, and Christmas last minute stuff I'm like virtually done. So excited about spending holidays with the family. So Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, bro. You already know. You're right around the corner, so I'm coming through for some cake.
Yeah,
Matriarch, what you doing for Christmas?
We're going to Florida to Universal, so that should be fun. We leave on Wednesday. Unfortunately, we are driving, so yay! I get to drive through Mississippi and Georgia and all them fun places. So we shall see. Yeah, but that's all. Just going down to Florida, trying to shut up, Penny. Trying to enjoy ourselves, and hopefully not get this Omicron because these tickets were real expensive.
You mean the Omarion?
The Omarion.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, we're just here in Oklahoma doing the thing.
Doing okay things.
I like how Joe turned his camera off while he submitted like we didn't know what the fuck he was doing.
But I gotta go, guys. It was great. Take care.
Come back.
See you later, man. And thank you for coming through. And
no
you're
problem.
always welcome here. You're always welcome here. You already know.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming. We have that $19.99 super chat.
Yeah, that's why I was laughing because he went away so he can focus.
So he can focus on doing it. Happy holiday, Merry Christmas, everyone. Please hit that like.
You're muted, Joe. You're muted.
Yeah.
I was blowing my nose. I did the job before I went off camera.
Thank you for that, man. Always, we love you. Rob, what you got coming up, man?
Well, the second season of Dota, Dragon's Blood, the animated series I worked on for Netflix, drops on January 6th.
Sweet.
And if you're a fan of that show, it gets pretty crazy.
Yes.
So that's hopefully we'll get a third season.
Soundtrack's dope too.
Yeah, the soundtrack is great. As a matter of fact, I just heard the I can't say what I just heard, but I just heard a piece of music that is really from a specific episode, but I can't tell you what it is. It's really good. Our composer's killing it.
Yeah.
Killing it. But it's fun. It was fun because I did all the animatic editing for that show before it gets sent to final animation. So it's fun and it's been a long time.
Come on, Trace. What can you not do, bro?
Right.
Rob's
What can you not do,
badass,
man?
dude.
I mean, I mean, I've just been working and doing things in the industry for a long time. The problem
it just doesn't matter. It's whether it's animation or producing or Star Wars porn. He's done it all.
I'm telling you. And I will say this: Tango Shalom is now playing in Ukraine. It opened in Ukraine, so it's all over Kiev right now, and they retitled it to Hands Off, which is kind of cool. So it's cool, this little tiny movie that defines low budget indie cinema. We never thought it would get theatrically released, but it's now playing, around the world. It's obviously available on video on demand, and if it's good for your mom and your grandma. You can show it to them.
Hey.
Well,
Hey,
congratulations.
Congratulations. But wait, look, what if you find out that you're basically nominated for a independent Academy Award?
They've already. We wouldn't be, but it would be nice.
You never know.
I mean, I think. Yeah. I mean, look, we've won a lot of festival awards. I think the coolest thing that I thought about Tango Shalom was the very first comedy film festival in the Islamic world was in Rabat, Morocco this year, and we won the audience award.
Wow.
Which I thought was pretty cool for a movie about a bunch of Jews to win the audience award at the first Islamic comedy film festival in the world. I was like, that's cool because the movie is about interfaith cooperation and stuff like that. So
I saw it in Scottsdale, Rob, at the theater.
That's awesome.
Oh, you did? Is that where you live? You live in Arizona?
Well, I was. Now I'm in Texas. But like when I was there, dude, Tango Shalom was playing at the theater in Scottsdale. You said that, so I went.
We did well in Scottsdale too.
Hell yeah, dude!
You won the 6 Scale Film Festival Award. So.
I know. That's coming.
There was actually a lot of people there to see it.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, we did well. And it was interesting for a movie that had no average. It was all grassroots. That's why it played there's nobody promoting Tango Shalom every day except on my stream. I play that award, which I'm going to end. It's, you know, people are like, do you have to play that all the time? I'm like, yes.
He's like, yes, I do.
You play what you want to play.
You get my content for free. You're going to eat this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But no, it's cool, and hopefully, you know, there's other things cooking, and I'm always working on something. It's so weird because I never leave this garage. I mean, all of Dota was cut here.
You're moving, right?
Here. Yeah, we're looking for a place to move, and we're looking for houses to move into, and that's a pain. But we've got time, so I've slowly been putting my figures. But it's kind of depressing, you know. All these Maji cases I was going to set up, and I'm like, oh, I can't set up my Maji cases now, and now I'm taking everything out of the Maji cases and putting them. I just put my Infinity War Thanos back in his box.
Hey, what possibly the new location it'd be bigger, more space?
Yeah, well, that would be the key. Is that I don't want to leave. I figure like if we can buy a house or something, I just want to wherever I move next. I just want to die there. I never want to move again. I just want to set up.
Not like right away, but like
not right away. No,
down the road.
Give it some time.
She's always like, we need more space because I took over the basement.
Yes. This was
I didn't realize how big the basement is.
They're not in a basement. They're in an IKEA. He's got a whole IKEA.
Somebody said bowling alley last
isn't it
time.
great that if you've got your own basement that like no one has to know when you have nice dinner parties or something, people come over to your house, they'll never know unless you bring them down into the underworld to see what you have. Yeah. Because that's the thing. Everything I own has been pushed out of our house and it's all here. It's all in here and then in the shed. There's nothing that I own except the PlayStation 5 and a screen. My screen. That's it.
Assert dominance. You got to take over a little bit.
That's all. No, it's better. I mean, it's good because then I don't have to worry about anybody touching my stuff. It's like in Stripes. Any of you touch my stuff and I'll kill you.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
Lighten up, Francis.
Absolutely.
You touch me and I'll kill you. He said, lighten up, Francis.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's kind of good because nobody cares, and as long as you have a place to put. That's why I love. I mean, we were looking at a house that did have a basement, and I'm like, yes, just like Lael has. It'd be great. That's what because then nobody would care. Nobody would come down.
Bro, listen. She said this the other day while I was sitting over there working. She was like, this is like a totally different. What'd you say?
It's like a whole new world.
It's like a whole new world down here. Like it's just.
And isn't that cool though?
It should be.
She's like, I'm gonna come down here more often.
Multiverse, right? This is his own.
The multiverse.
Your own multiverse downstairs.
But I mean, think about it. You can have the house upstairs can be all classy. It can be all cocoa tuliped out. Yeah, look nice. It'll be awesome, and then you'll love that. People come over.
Rob, listen, bro. Let's talk about that really quick. Let's talk about that really quick. We got a couple seconds here. So
their house is sexy up top and nerdy down below.
Yeah.
Exactly, bro. Everything upstairs is her doing to the point where when I even look, my couches, we had a debate, and my couches ended up being the ones that were sold, bro.
Mine was here first. And yours didn't have fit in your
dude. Always go with
Lael. Just be thankful she kept you.
Yes.
See, there you go. Perspective.
Always go with the women's design sensibility. Always. You've got your basement. You've got your basement.
You've got this whole basement.
The whole basement. The whole basement. And I made sure I made sure it was left that way. So it is what it is.
And the only furniture is a computer desk and 73 detolfs.
Dude, when he panned the camera, I was stunned.
I know, right?
I was stunned when he panned the camera. I was like, oh, it goes on forever.
The electric
warehouse and Raiders.
The electric bill just to light it.
His defaults are like Han's Lair and Enter the Dragon. There's just.
I was like, is it just 3 detops and a mirror on each side? No, it's not. It goes forever.
Dennis over there is all over. Yeah, there's a lot going on down here, bro.
He spread everything out on purpose so that I have like no space and no reason to ever be down here.
That's good too, though.
That is, bro.
Dude, but when you get your custom display, right, and you have somewhere else to put your whole collection in, you know how much money you could make by selling all those detolfs? You could buy like 20, 30 more Hot Toys with that money.
You know, I customize these things to my liking, bro. I'm never doing that, man.
Plus, they look cool. I mean, with as many
They
as you
really
have,
do.
I've seen a lot of detox, but never a long line of detox
Yeah.
like you have.
They're
And the
so
long line
clean.
itself becomes like art. It becomes something
Yeah.
greater
I'm
than
not
the
gonna
sum of it.
lie. It
So,
really
Rob,
is.
what you're saying, size matters.
Well, you know, it depends how you light everything, I guess.
How you landscape
Well, shit.
around
I
it as
need
well.
some lighting tips then, Rob.
Yo.
That's what she said.
Oh,
listen.
shit.
See, we're having this conversation and nobody's ever seen Vinny's room yet. But listen, it is.
Now, are those all long boxes behind you?
All
They
on
are.
boxes, yeah.
Yeah.
all along and all filled.
Yeah,
They're
I'll bet.
all filled.
Filled.
And it's over here too. Yeah.
That's a lot, Vinny. That's a lot of porno mags. That's a lot. To, like...
No one knows. No one pulls out the drawer. You just respect it. You don't even touch it.
I'm afraid all the pages are stuck together.
Yo, Rob, no, that's the only room that we've ever seen in his house. Is that room right there. There's no other room we are allowed to go in. And I'm wondering why every time we go to his bedroom door, there's always a glass of milk and some cookies down at the bottom, just sitting there waiting.
Yeah, who knows what's in that house? You know?
Exactly, right? Exactly.
Behind that door is just another wall of like size 4.5 Jordans.
Yes, it's a lot of things. And it ain't Jordans, I'll tell you that.
It's a camp. It's a camp. We'll tell that story off camera. off camera. We'll tell that. So, hey, butt naked, real quick though. When we were at the movie theater, right? It was one scene that came on and had my ass rolling. Is when Jamie Foxx was in the woods, and they stripped him of his power.
Oh, yeah.
We all pretend that I am butt ass naked here.
He's like, yeah.
Yo, Jamie Foxx
thought
had
of
some
Brendan.
great lines. Like, man, you got to be careful where you fall. Like when he's talking to Sandman, like Jamie Foxx had some good shit in this. It made no sense that all of a sudden he lost the part and the buck teeth and all that, and he was like more like cool and suave in this. There was no reason for that other than he was just in a new universe and they wanted to do a better version. But I'm okay with it because he was awesome in the movie.
Yeah,
he was awesome.
Yeah, he was.
It's to the point where maybe it was another Electro that did know Peter, because that was completely different.
Well, yeah, because but that is one other kind of like plot hole that I was like, wait a minute, because they're like saying that like Goblin and Doc Ock, they were like pulled right before they died from their respective universes, right? But Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield weren't pulled right from those same moments. They were pulled from later.
Different times.
Yeah, they were
Different
pulled from
times.
later in their stories after they had already, like, after Gwen had been dead for several years, after Toby, his Spider-Man had been doing it for, like, 15, 20 years or whatever. So, but again, it was such a good movie that we'll let those slide.
Yeah.
Bro, the references to the buck teeth and the comb over had me dying, bro. That shit had me dying, but it was worth it.
Also, I really feel like because they flat out said there's got to be a black Spider-Man out there somewhere, that they're actively working on a Miles. At least the script right now, they're actively doing it. I have to believe that they are.
They're definitely building on that. Like you already know that's
coming. It's like the symbiote. They're like saying, "We know you want it. Just relax."
Yeah.
That little sliver right there, that was like just the tip, just for now, just to see how it feels. More is coming. Don't worry.
And like you said, Vinny, they didn't. I mean, as much as I wanted it, they didn't do it because they don't want it to overshadow across.
It would have completely threw off the flow of what we had going on and what took from it, because we would have just wanted to see Miles.
That's why. That's why they didn't. That's why they didn't kill Toby, because to be honest, I had kind of thought going in that he might die as like the older Spider-Man, and they would that would be a gut punch for them, but then they would persevere. And realistically, I mean, come on, Goblin stabbed him through the back out his, like, he should have died. But if he died, it probably would have taken too much away from the impact of May being that big loss for Peter. So I think that's why he ended up living, because realistically, I mean, the way he got stabbed, he should have died. But again, okay with it.
I think the rumor was he was supposed to die in that scene, right, Brendan?
Well, I mean, I had heard that, but I don't know if
too.
it was referencing that. I think some people were just like kind of looking at him as like maybe the Han Solo, Force Awakens kind of like the guy, the OG guy, who's been around forever. He dies in order to kind of further the plot for the younger guys. Right. So it was a possibility, I thought, but then again, like once he, once May was lost, I was like, you can't kill Toby and May because that lessens the impact of May's death. She's got to be the loss that Peter has to deal with. And I feel like that losing Toby also might have set Andrew's version back a little bit too, after he just kind of found some redemption by saving MJ. So, yeah.
Was I the only one that felt like when they killed May, I didn't have that connection to her because she was underdeveloped and underused? Because, like, she's a great actress, and I was always disappointed that they didn't utilize her. She was a set piece.
I think they used her better in this early on.
Yeah, but when they killed her, I would have been more attached emotionally if they would have killed Happy because he was better developed.
I was more attached to Tom's reaction and Happy showing up than actually thinking, oh, no, now no more Aunt May. Like, it was more them driving that than losing.
I was sad because she's hot.
I teared up when the three of them were talking about all the pain that they had been through. Mm-hmm. That's where it got me emotionally.
Those moments were so powerful because, again, neither one overshadowed the other, and they all served to drive home the pain that Tom Holland's character was feeling in the moment, because they had been dealing with that pain themselves for years. And when they came in and they're like, Ben said, and it was cathartic for them too, when those two realized they both lost Ben, and then, and so there was a lot, that moment was very hard to balance. I'm so impressed with how they balanced it. So we felt the emotion for all three of them.
Yeah.
But it was still Tom Holland's story, and he was never overshadowed in that. So from the acting, the directing, the writing of that scene, everything
fired
just
on
hit a
all
home
cylinders.
Yeah. Hey, folks, I got to run. I'm sorry. I got to feed my dogs.
Yeah. We're going to actually close it out as well, man.
Rob, we got to get on Hot Wheels soon.
Yeah.
I know. Yes,
good talk
we do.
all around. I'm glad to actually have everybody here. Everybody out in the chat, I'm glad you basically hung through with us. We had a couple more super chats real quick. SpongeBob, Squareballs. Toby Spider-Man or Spidey didn't die because of comics MCU. Then we also had articulate photography. Low-key was hoping Tom would recognize Toby as Ben. Yeah, it was a lot of people that actually said that, but definitely didn't come through. But again, thanks everybody for coming through. Like I said, I want to adjust the chat, but I mean, I know we don't really have too much time. Everybody who actually came through, as always, good. I'm glad.
Merry Christmas.
I'm glad you were part of this. Merry Christmas. Until next week, we will be back with the full spoiler show for Hawkeye, episode 6, which is the season finale. So stay tuned for that. There will be some comic book, or actually say what on Wednesday. I'm still working on the topics. Hopefully we'll get through these technical issues, but we'll sort it out. But again, thank you guys for coming through. If we don't get a chance to talk to you guys over or during the week, you have a nice, safe Christmas with you and your family. Remember, I hope you get everything that you basically want. I know I will. So
will you?
Exactly. So will you, Mrs. Hunter. Anyway, so yes. Good. Thank you. And thank you for Latoya T for coming through.
Yes.
Definitely. Thank you for coming through.
It was delightful to have you.
Choice. Coco Tulip.
Yes,
exactly.
Coco Tulip.
It was most definitely nice to see you guys coming through. So thank you for coming through. Until next week, everybody, good night. You actually have a safe and lovely holiday. And remember, like I said, this is always a place where you can actually come, nerd out, be a geek as much as you want to, because we welcome that. So again, we love you guys. Thank you for coming through. Peace and love.
Merry